150 million volts thunderbolt. There was a roar. The 5 Sons of Volley was under the precise preview of Xinwang. All of them got hit. Although it didn't achieve a fatal blow, the combat power was directly cut in half.
Damn it, where did the lightning come from?
It's Rodan. It's so numb. Xiao Wangkuai supports my sister. Boom boom boom. It was another thunderbolt. With the vigilant Woozy, he hid under the full power of observation hockey. This is just the beginning. Rodan entangled the 5 of them alone, under the addition of silence and transparency. In the end, Foz Fu in the form of a saber-toothed tiger and Shamu in the form of a triceratops were killed.
And Fire Embers and Jack the Dro faced the 3 of Baji.
It also gradually fell into the disadvantage, and those who were beaten retreated steadily. Stop fighting, take Jack's corpses and retreat. Damn it, we didn't kill any of them. Listen to Big Brother, retreat quickly. Jin is the one who sees the most form, with the mainstay Captain Kaido entangled. They faced the few people in front of them. There is no chance of winning at all. Go on like this. Not to mention falling into a disadvantage, all of them will definitely be left behind. How could it be so easy for you to leave? Rodan held out a hand. The golden spear was mixed with a large amount of electromagnetic power, and it was thrown out viciously. I'll stop it. Quinn's huge body blocked the way for everyone to retreat. Boom. The wind pressure dissipated. Quinn's body, which was already seriously injured, was stabbed in the chest. Fell to the ground. Jin took the remaining 3 sons with him. Fly out. The ancient species of pterosaurs flew extremely fast. Just a few blinks. Then it flew out of Rodan's mind network range. A few people are too lazy to chase, and Rodan had an arc flash. Came to the sky above the deserted island and observed the battle below. Kaido is still alive and well. At this age, he is at the peak of his strength. Even if he was knocked down several times, they all got up again. But, although the vitality is strong, it doesn't mean unlimited stamina. Under the siege of the 2, Kaido's speed gradually slowed down. Count Bucky and Dover who just joined the fray. Kaido was pressed and beaten all the way. It's a little irritating.
Kaido is like a Xiaoqiang, who just doesn't die.
Noon the next day. Everyone was fighting, and they took Kaido as a sparring partner. And Rodan just lacks experience in this area. Although it was smashed several times, but quickly recovered. And the more you fight, the stronger you get. Cooperate with the famed training card. Physical strength is constantly increasing. I do not know how long it has been. Boom. Kaido with a broken horn fell into the giant hole. Super tough line. A sharp one. Several silver wires are wound up. Kaido's complexion froze, and the armed color quickly hardened his lower body. He is very brave. Be brave to the first battle. There is no use of armed colors to harden and defend the body at all. Think it's redundant. His sweetheart almost left him, which kicked off that part of the hockey hardening. But this time, it seems to be a bit late. I saw a smear of blood spilling all over the crotch. Can't kill. Can't we get it to the weak point? You. Die to lousy. Kaido, biting his lower lip. Clenched hands were excruciatingly painful, but just opened his mouth, intending to growl. Groups of white threads, like parasites, have penetrated into the mouth. Then enter the internal organs along the way. Performed ultimate destruction. No. Kaido opened his mouth wide, looking like he wanted to vomit but couldn't. Very uncomfortable. How about it? Viscera are too hard, and the thread is being corroded. The blows haven't stopped. Sword light and sword shadow. Lava waves. Rock splits and squeezes. This deserted island has been ruined, and there is no place to stand. Finally, Kaido broke down. Get out, lousy, get out of here. The words fell. He used all his strength to knock the girls back for a second. Then turned into a blue dragon. Stepped onto the flame cloud and left here quickly. I felt shuddering at the messy methods of the Rodan regiment. Do you want to chase? What's the use if you can't kill it after catching up? Next time find 2 fruits and stuff them in. Rodan gave up on the chase, and Marine and the other 4 emperors tried countless times without success to kill Kaido. He didn't think he could be killed easily. Think of the way. I guess others have thought about it too, and Kaido. It's not the main goal right now. It doesn't make much sense to go after it. Really want to kill. There must be a way, but it will take time. Also, Rodan saw the newsletter of Public Execution Ace. Just tomorrow, there will be a world broadcast. That is, Summit War is coming soon, Rodan's goal. Shichibukai will also bring it all together. He glanced at Yaoyang hanging high in the sky. Rodan returned to the Ark in Tokushima and began to replenish food energy. This battle. The dust settled. There is no doubt about the outcome, and it ends in Kaido's defeat. And this battle is not only the most exciting news before the execution, but also will establish his status as the king in New World. Actually, this battle, give him a maximum harvest of. It is for the improvement of physical strength in fierce battles. At first, he couldn't hold back a punch from Kaido in the dragon form. Hit to the end, has been tempered to hard punches. Certainly, the factor of Kaido's power regression cannot be ruled out. But not much back, if replaced with previous. He just punched backwards and ended up vomiting blood. Speaking of, isn't Marine afraid of me joining the war, or is there a way to stop me? Rodan sat at the head, eating the fruit from the compote. Let's talk about the check-in in Tokushima this time. It's been more than a day. The system has not detected it yet. However, his intuition told him that the reward this time must be a bit special. Wait a little longer and see. The place of execution was at Marineford. Driving in a straight line at the speed of the arc, you can feel it even if you set off at night. Not in a hurry, Rodan thought. Going to take a shower in the bathroom first. Unexpectedly, several bathrooms. They were all occupied by Baki and the others. Obviously the fight, it made them sweat a lot. Rodan was going to turn around and wait. Stop. A cool voice sounded. One of them was steaming. Tashiji's pretty face poked out, that long wet hair. Still dripping. Crocodile grabbed Rodan and smiled. The bathroom is so spacious, why are you running? Today's Dressrosa is almost half destroyed. There are charred potholes everywhere. And at the end of the battle, after Kaido left, King Liku gathered the soldiers and launched a rescue operation for survivors. All the little people came to help. This battle, in exchange for the sovereignty of Tokushima, also freed from Doflamingo's dark reign, King Riku is very grateful to Rodan. The means are not so gentle. Of course he understands that short-term pain is worse than long-term pain. Want to be liberated. After all, pay the price. Besides, I was looking at people hugging their families one by one, crying with joy. King Liku thinks. Sometimes, as long as people are still there, then everything is worth it. With just one pirate group, openly defying the government, removing all Shichibukai? Cyrus, who had a broken leg, admired sincerely. It's really a great, and unattainable thing. A Doflamingo is so scary, it is said that 3 Shichibukai were also killed earlier. This achievement, it simply made him unimaginable. It's also a great ambition. Cyrus felt admiration in his heart, without Rodan. He is afraid that he will survive as a toy forever. And my daughter will never be able to recognize each other. It's just. Relying on the next financial resources, it may be very difficult to rebuild the country. Hey, did I say you were stupid? Baki walked over swaggeringly. Don't you know how to touch the weapons and ships that the 100 beasts have ordered? Cyrus and King Liku were taken aback when they heard the words. Can you? They said cautiously, seriously. These were all brought down by the Rodan regiment. They dare not move. It's up to you. Baki turned his head away and got on the flying boat. Take away the valuable ones early, all right. Nothing worth much either. The two heard the words. There was only emotion left in my heart. Want to repay. But there is no way to start. After all, there is nothing to ask for. Etc. Cyrus glanced at his daughter in cool clothes. Forget it, Rebecca. I'm afraid she's not worthy of that lord at all. Recently, the World Economic News Agency can be said to be too busy. After the news of the execution of Ace was just released, it ushered in the defeat of Kaido's entire group. But, more so, the more excited Morgans was, the more bewildered he was. Haha, I know this Rodan is developing very fast, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. It's only the 3rd day of New World, and they beat Kaido. It's amazing. Quick. Print them all out urgently. This news must be in time before the execution, so that it will be truly sensational. The employees below heard the words. He didn't dare to neglect for a moment, and started working quickly. It was near evening. Dressrosa is in full swing rebuilding. Rodan frowned slightly as he watched the increasingly dark sky. But soon, he stretched out again. Ding, the famous Dressrosa was successfully detected. Do you want to sign in immediately? Of course, sign in. Rodan exhaled. Finally came. After holding back for so long, I don't know what I'm doing. If only ordinary rewards. That would be such a disappointment. Successfully signed in, congratulations on getting it. Time Wrap 1, Enhanced Version, Special Girly World Mission 1. Time Wrapper? Rodan hasn't read the system introduction yet. Then there is speculation, after reading. It's even more unexpected. Time wrap from door a dream. The appearance is an ordinary tablecloth, with front and back sides. When you cover something with the front side, you can go forward 20 years, and the reverse side will go back 20 years, showing the past state, can be used to restore youth, or to ripen age. Rodan nodded. Look to the next one. Something that interests him immensely. Special Girly World Mission, task. Had one before. It is the task of guarding the boat in the capital of 7 waters. But this mission seems to be quite different. Sissy World. Could it be? Rodan's heart skipped a beat. System. Can this mission start anytime? Yes, host. Rodan thought about it. Then can you tell me what this task is? Last mission reward. Directly brought the Sissy 5 elders, the reward is not small. He was curious after finishing this. What rewards will there be? Certainly. It is necessary to know in advance what the task is. No matter what you do, you need to do what you can. Sorry host, this Sissy mission will be randomly generated, so I can't know it for the time being. But one thing is certain, you will enter the pirate world to perform tasks. Massive pirate world? Rodan was taken aback. It was exactly as he thought. Some have read it. Rodan asked again. If the task world dies, will it really die? What is the approximate time flow with the outside world? Tasks are divided into wearing and entity entry. Wearing is risk-free, while entity entry is risky. Specifically, the system cannot give an answer before the random extraction is turned on. After drawing, you can choose whether to accept the task. Time flow rate. Please rest assured, no matter how long you stay in the mission time, the main world will not exceed 3 hours at most. 3 hours? Rodan nodded. This time is acceptable, and it will not affect his participation in tomorrow's summit war. So far, he didn't intend to waste time either. If there is danger, at worst, just refuse. Thinking. He clicked get it. The task is being randomly selected. Congratulations on getting the wearing task. Taskscape World Parallel World 6, Girly. Wearing, Executioner Fire Fistachi Mission Objective Escape from Impel Down. Mission Location. Undersea Prison, Impel Down. Basic Rewards and Introduction of Quests 1. The body skills worn by the character will be synchronized with your existing body skills. Mission Details. You will be wearing the body of Fire Fist Ace, and the goal is to successfully escape from Impel Down before being escorted to Naval Headquarters. Special Benefits 1. When you enter the Parallel World 6, the random girly lottery draw is still counting down. You can draw after it returns to 0. 2. The side effect of wearing the character's fruit ability will be eliminated. Exempt from seawater and sea stone. Note. After completing the task, you will get rich special rewards. 1-minute countdown to task acceptance. Stare at the virtual screen in front of you. Rodan looked away. Fire Fist A. See? Is it the ace he understands? Cough cough. The girlish one doesn't know what it looks like. Let's go back to. Although the system did not give a specific parallel world background. But through keywords, Impel Down and Execute words. It is estimated that before the Summit War broke out. Therefore, Parallel World 6 has a high probability of being similar to the main world. Certainly. That's none of his business. What Rodan has to do is escape mission. Only. This task is a bit difficult. In the original plot, Ace was wearing seastone handcuffs, but was not rescued by Luffy. Magellan, prison pawns and others, not easy to deal with. Maybe you will meet the Blackbeard pirates, be him instead. Eliminate fruit side effects and synchronize your own physique. In that iron wall, is there a show? He does not know. But there's also a Sissy draw. 4-star characters are a great help. Backquote, there is something wrong. Rodan chooses to accept the mission. You have accepted the mission, and you will enter the mission world in 1 minute. Note. Characters and personal items cannot be carried. Please adjust your mental state. Alter. The flying boat turned and flew in the direction of Marineford. Mr. Rodan, your kindness. We will never forget it. King Liku led a group of soldiers to bid farewell. Behind. There are many people. Even if Rodan hadn't spoken to them at all. I haven't met face to face. But his stalwart image. It was quietly imprinted in the hearts of everyone in Tokushima. Contrast that with the coddling Shichibukai's world government. The gap is simply not too big, on the flying boat. Rodan sat back at the top, after turning on the defense grid. Consciousness gradually sank into it. Mihoko is on the side. Silently guarding him countdown, it finally reached 0. For a while. Rodan just felt his consciousness spin for a while. As if being sucked into the abyss. When you calm down and open your eyes again. The surrounding area is already pitch black and gloomy. Rodan manipulated his body strangely, but unexpectedly, there was a sound of clanging iron chains and handcuffs. Suddenly it rang. Struggle a little. It was found that the body was also locked tightly, and there was a feeling of weakness. The side effect of the fruit is being eliminated, please wait a moment. Rodan listened to the system beep. Only then did he put his gaze on himself and observe. First, what catches the eye is the shawl hair. Neck. There is also a string of red beads hanging on it. Move down. Is it the abs and excessive pecs? Fortunately, this guy is wearing a cover, otherwise. Exported sound lines. At this time, she is as elegant as a chingling. This surprised Rodan. His face suddenly became unnatural. Sissy? Thinking. He glanced at the chilly trousers. Legs tightened. It's over. One Piece. Actually gave birth to a baby girl. At this time. Side corners. A deep female voice sounded. What's the title of Shichibukai? There's no need for that kind of thing. If this war can stop. Ms. Eyes, what's wrong with you? She was talking about it when there was a sudden pause. Rodan controlled icy, but looked to the side. It is a fat blue woman in a big red robe. Wrong. Compared with her 3-meter height. This body type should be just right, even slim. Put it in the mermaid. Definitely a stunning beauty. Are you Jinbei? Rodan endured the sissy voice and struggled to get out. What's the matter, Ms. Ace? The Tide Shiping was taken aback for a moment, feeling that she was a bit strange. I'm just a Shiping. Just now he was called Big Sister Jinping. Now. Why call him by his first name? What time is it now? Rodan swallowed, planning to stroke. Morning. Morning. Rodan nodded. Timeline. It was Jinbei who violated the Shichibukai summoning order. When he broke into the headquarters and was arrested. Morningwards. That is to say, it is not far from execution. There's still time. Rodan clenched his white fists, feeling the strength gradually returning. Plan to find a suitable time to run away. Mission target. It is to actively escape from impel down, and the progress of each level will be advanced. Until escape impel down, on the contrary. If it is in the form of seizure, then treat the task as a failure. This also cut off Rodan's psychology of wanting to take advantage of loopholes. Thinking. He glanced at the call countdown again. At this time, I saw that the original flow rate of more than 10 hours had increased by almost 10 times. 1 second jumps to 10 seconds, it's almost like running. If this continues, it will probably be summoned in less than an hour, right? This exception. It surprised Rodan a little. The time flow problem? It's not right. Is it the system welfare? Never mind. It's always a good thing. At this moment, the piece of the Fishman Island comes from Mrs. Whitebeard. Once they set foot on the Grand Line, the pirates must pass by. Even Ping on the side was slightly surprised. I don't care either. I started to talk about some of the origins of the Fishman Island and Whitebeard's old lady. The Fishman Island, but there is no Whitebeard. It is still a mess until now, and it is often captured by pirates and marines. Rodan nodded perfunctorily. Slowly get used to this body. Him now. Even if the fruit ability is restored, it is still in a weak state. Need to regain strength. The time is not yet ripe. Have to wait. That's all. More than half an hour passed. From the depths of the first floor where he was, there were waves of crisp footsteps. Hannibal? Even Magellan is here. What happened? In prison. The female prisoners in black and white prison uniforms cast their gazes over one after another. An administrator. A deputy director. The two big characters of Impelled Down are usually very rare. Soon. Wearing a pharaoh headdress with a playful belly. Hannibal, with demon wings on his back, came outside the prison where Rodan was. Special meeting, Ace. Rodan looked up slightly. Immediately glanced over again, even the sissy Hannibal. Still a bit hot-eyed. On the other hand, Magellan. Wearing a pitch-black military uniform, his figure is exquisite. Zhao Rong Qingli. Much better looking than Hannibal. Certainly. The point is not this. Guess who's here? Even, you haven't seen it. Hannibal glanced to the side, and said, so you can't guess. He is the emperor who only knows his name but doesn't know himself, fighting the 9 snakes. She started laying the groundwork. A member of 7 warlords of the sea, powerful and noble, the most handsome guy in the world. One Piece. Boa Hancock himself. Hanny pulls to one side. Stretch out your hand. Exposed. A slightly feminine long-haired man in a red flower robe and red high heels. The female prisoners in the prison saw Hancock so handsome. Holding on to the iron bars, all agitated. What? I just said it's not normal. Hey, Look this way. Brother Hancock. Look, it's so sexy. Brother, come to our side, we will treat you gently. It smells so good, I really want to go to Manor Island. It's all men, and it's said that none of them wear clothes, ha 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 ha. For a while. The vulgar language is endless. The male emperor? Rodin's eyelids twitched. The impact is a bit big. A man. Still stepping on red high heels. He understood Lao Shaw's feeling when he was summoned for the first time. The contrast is too great, but, seriously. The appearance of Hancock means that Luffy has broken into Impel Down. So that is to say, not far from escort. And Hancock whispered when he leaned closer to the cage during the chaos, and it was true. After a group of people left, Rodan narrowed his eyes slightly. Then let Impel Down get into the hustle and bustle early. Next second. A ball of blazing flames shot up from his body, spreading all over his body in an instant. The flame turned. Then he jumped out of the black seastone handcuffs. Along the ground. Gradually turned into a pretty shadow. Ms. Ace? Even the tight lock immediately widened his eyes. Female prisoners in nearby cages, the same is true. Fire. Flame. Are you kidding? Is that the power of devil fruit? That's impossible. Is her sea stone fake? Rodan walked up to the bars. Now. The system sound also rang. The cooldown of the lottery draw time is over. You can immediately start this girly character lottery. Enter. Far away at Naval Headquarters. At the moment in and around the square. In order to cope with the upcoming war, elite female soldiers from all branches of the world have gathered here. The way they hold knives, extremely serious. This is the inner circle, outside the barriers. It is covered with dozens of large warships, standby. But in such a tense atmosphere, headquarters building. A bright and spacious admiral office. A woman wearing a blindfold and a white suit with a blue lining fell asleep soundly. And next door. A woman in a white and yellow striped suit and orange glasses. It is more leisurely. She had a pair of slender long legs that made all men crazy. In his left hand is a small makeup mirror. The right hand holds the lipstick. It is carefully applied, as if nothing happened. Perusalino. Aside. Sakaski, who was wearing a red suit, said in a charming voice, "Stop playing with your wrinkled old face all day long. The face of all the female soldiers in the headquarters is almost lost by you. She is in the headquarters. He always has a cold face to everyone, and loves to ignore him. Only this guy. Let her is really unbearable. Without it. This guy doesn't even have a look as a woman. Grandpa Cannon makes people uncomfortable. This time, don't wear your high heels anymore. Change your trousers to long trousers. This is Sengoku's order." Yo, I'm getting angry again. Pelusalino shook his head. Closed the vanity mirror. Just when she was about to say something. His face changed suddenly. Then, she closed her eyes slightly, waiting to open them again. Already changed a color. Pelusalino tucked up the suit hakama, and gracefully got up from the sofa. He twisted his waist and walked towards the door. Seeing her open the door, Sakaski frowned slightly. "It's about this time. Where are you going?" "Find a man. Impel Down." Rodan glanced at the storage ring on his finger. Strange to say. Ring. It seems that the binding is on the spiritual level, and they came together. Thinking. From it he drew a pale yellow cloak and suit. Simply put it on. Shut Icy's upper body. Rodan always felt out of place, thinking. His consciousness sank into the system. So. The girly character of the Marine camp this time. Who could it be? Random sissy character draw is in progress. Congratulations on getting Marine Admiral Pelusalino. Kizaru? Rodan's eyelids twitched, but next. He didn't see any space channel opening. So, what's going on? Rodan looked at the personal panel of Pelusalino. Only then did I roughly understand. Nickname. Kizaru, Marine Admiral, part-time Deputy Commander of the Revolutionary Army. Strength 4-star, peak, age 49, origin parallel world 6. Experience. Since she was born as a woman, Pelusalino has accepted the concept of sissy world. But after growing up, her character is destined to make it unacceptable and understandable. Why? Can't women be like men? Wear high heels and miniskirts and put on the most beautiful makeup. Obviously female. It should be more beautiful when dressed than men. That's right. She loves beauty and cleanliness. Think of yourself as living and grooming in a masculine way. There is nothing wrong with that, but her thoughts make people around you feel incomprehensible. Over time, it is incompatible with the rough women who eat large pieces of meat and drink in large bowls. Subsequently, she went to sea. Desire for ideas to be recognized by others. but accidentally. Showed a very strong side, and was called a monster. Paluzolino didn't really want to. However, her talent is so high that she can't handle it by herself. Then eat sparkling fruit. The strength is even higher in a galloping state. Faster. People are more lazy. Personality has also become unpredictable. Dressing depends on one's own preferences. Regardless of the strange eyes of outsiders, in short. It's even worse. It should have gone down like this. By chance. Marine saw her strength and invited her to join in. And this later. Probably the last thing Marine wants to talk about. After Paluzolino joined the Marine, he and Sakaski became students at the same time, and began to learn from the Holy Law. And Zephyr. Naturally, he couldn't understand her very much. Not to be fooled, and to dress up so grandly, not to mention. There is always a dispensable attitude towards training. Simply unbearable, that's all. Zephyr took special care of it. Started the brutal training, and at the same time tried to carry out a manly transformation plan on her. Turn out. It worked. But only in terms of strength. This was because Paluzolino was displeased with this old guy, and forced his promotion with the goal of defeating him. Other aspects. Not only has there been no change, but it has intensified. He is very popular with people around him, but even so. Paluzolino became one of the highest combat powers in the sea when he was still young. Marine Admiral after Zephyr, it is worth mentioning that. She was earlier invited by Garp's daughter, Dorag, to form the Revolutionary Army together. The two have a good relationship. Especially when I heard that Dorag knew a guy with a special fruit ability. Can change from female to male. This aroused Paluzolino's interest. And I agreed. Still a deputy commander, but she didn't take it seriously until Dorag really set up a revolutionary army. Paluzolino was dumbfounded. Although there were still occasional contacts afterwards, Paluzolino managed to perfunctory them. Retire in Marine. Not comfortable. But Dorag trusted her very much. That's all. Paluzolino was wobbly, and in the blink of an eye he was in his 40s. This age. There are wrinkles on the face. This made her pursue her appearance even more crazily, and she cared more about her appearance and figure. But this masculine beauty. But it was criticized by the whole Marine. When young. You are indeed unbelievably beautiful. Even if grandpa. Everyone can barely accept it. Just look at it as a small fresh meat, but old. It's just unbearable. I also put forward my opinion, bluntly speaking to Kizaru. It's a shame to Marine. Pirates laughed when they saw it. Marine insiders. He even fought against it at one point, but. Annoying, yes. So many years of beatings. Not only did it not change, still stronger. Even more difficult to deal with. There is basically no one in this department who is her opponent. Aokiji and Akainu are completely useless, even Sengoku. It is also impossible to subdue or form suppression. And Garp. It is too lazy to manage, that's all. At the age of 49, she has maintained the beauty of her personality until now. Become a beautiful scenery in Marine. Rodan looked away. The first feeling this sissy character gave him was normal. In the main worldview, it's normal. Makeup or something, in line with women's standards. Wouldn't it be best to be summoned by him? Main world. No one will criticize her at all. I just hope that when we meet, we don't file so long. Speaking up. Kizaru in the main world is over 50, and this one is only 49. It's a lot smaller, but judging from the strength of the introduction. Also beyond Akainu? This. Is Akainu too weak here, or Kizaru too strong? We'll have to wait to find out. It's a little interesting. In addition. World number 6. That is the task world. Those who have not been summoned are probably their own world. There is no channel. At Naval Headquarters. Hope to make it in time. Rodan came wearing it. There are all the moves used by Icy in my mind. It's all under control now. Like an arm and a finger. Let's begin then. Talking. He grabbed onto the iron railing with one hand. Call. Flame emerges. The iron railing has turned into a puddle of molten iron at a speed visible to the naked eye. Melt down. Ms. Ace. Even Ping has been relieved, and hastily said, please let me help you. Hey, it should be exciting outside now. In the side cage. A golden scorpion hit the ground with a hook. There was a golden chime. How about letting me out? Crocodile girl? Rodan frowned. Rather. There is someone I know well. And us. Ha ha ha, I've been suffocated to death a long time ago. Let my old lady go out to find a man. Let me go out quickly, I can satisfy you with whatever you want. Freedom. Tobacco, alcohol and meat. Can't wait. In the rest of the cages, bursts of roars suddenly came out. For a while. Noisy female voices filled the 6th floor, attracting the attention of the jailer beast. At the same time, above the gate of justice leading to Impel Down, an extremely bright cross beam is flying towards it rapidly. 4 floors underground. Magellan, who escorted the male emperor away, returned to his office and could finally work with peace of mind. And she does it first. Just take the phone bug to listen to the report. But look. But it is getting darker. Because the Impel Down at this time is already a mess, the 1st and 2nd underground floors are completely out of control, and the blue orangutan family is currently suppressing it with all their strength. Not only that, even the 3rd floor was turned upside down. Straw Hat. Luffy. Why is she here? Magellan suddenly hammered the table. Also, why did you report to me now? You were just escorting. At this time, the tone of the phone bug changed. It was extremely flustered, as if some terrifying mechanism had been triggered. It's not good, Director. The prisoners on the bottom 6 floors have also started to riot. The leader is the most important prisoner, Fire Fist Ice. What? Magellan's eyes widened. Hannibal even took a step back in fright. Impossible, isn't she wearing seastone handcuffs? Did she release the criminal? 4 weeks of ready personnel on call. Heart trembled. People imprisoned in the eternal hell on the bottom 6 floors. But they are all too vicious, and once all the monster pirates erased from history are released by them. First transfer half of the troops to the 4th basement floor. If they come down. Hannibal, you lead the team and stop the Straw Hat Boy with Sadie-chan. Magellan stood up abruptly and clenched slender fists. The rest immediately go to the 5th floor of the basement. Hold McCang's pass, and I will personally lead the suppression. Ace. Absolutely cannot have the slightest mistake. It's really a wave of ups and downs. Hannibal gritted her teeth. Holding the iron trident, he immediately greeted the people. And after Magellan went out, immediately take the up and down chain ladder and go straight to the underground eternal hell. War will be a touch away. 6 floors underground. At this time, a pot of porridge was made in disorder. Rodan would have been too troublesome to release these people. After all, 1 second is a waste of time, but now Kizaru is still on the way. I had to add some more manpower, even if these criminals have a long time to kill. There is no one in strength. But it's not a problem to help attract some attention. Rodan walked down the black corridor, every step. Then he jumped out tens of meters. The raging flames ignited on his body even burned the iron gates on both sides to red. Gradually, behind him gathered a large group of ferocious female prisoners who laughed grinningly. All of them are very rebellious, certainly. There are also smart ones among them. He is obviously very powerful, but he pretends to be a pig and eats a tiger and mixes among these people. Not in the first place. Golden Lion Shiki, Devil Air Bartley, World Destroyer World. Aren't they here? Rodan didn't notice their presence. After eating a giant shredded meat sausage in his hand, he took out some more. Handed it to the 2 people who followed. The people you mentioned have never even heard of them. Crocodile shook his head. Instead of accepting the food that Rodan handed over, he narrowed his eyes slightly. Fire Fist Ace. You were more strange than before. Where did you get these things from? Fruit ability. Wrong. She already has one. You don't want it, but I do. Even Ping is not welcome. On the way to run, feast on it. In this case. Then don't waste time, follow me. Rodan stepped forward. The food from the storage ring was crazily eaten by him. Now my physical strength and condition have climbed to the peak. In addition, Ace's gymnastics has been synchronized to his physical skills. And nature is stronger than the original body. This also means that the fruit ability can be played even better. Hellfire. For a while, the oncoming jailers all burned into a jumping pyroman. The dry flames swept away along the passage like a dragon of fire. Even if there are fish that slip through the net, they were all dealt with by the released prisoners. At this time, moo, the roar of the beast sounded. A minotaur standing upright holding a mace. A stick comes waving. In an instant, he smashed a group of prisoners into the air. It's the jailer beast. Damn it, don't face its power. What a troublesome guy. The female prisoners showed serious expressions. Jailer beast. But all have the ability to awaken one's own fruit. With a strong physique and strong recovery ability, the strength is above the upper class. And difficult to deal with. It's also because they are criminals on the 6th floor of the basement. Change to 5 or more layers. That is to run away with crawling and rolling, and there is no thought of resistance at all. And the jailer beast Minotaur, after cleaning up the criminals in front of him. He took a deep breath of the snot under his nostrils. Facing the flames coming straight ahead, unafraid. Clenched hands, It was split in half with a mace. Pause time. The bright heat wave makes its cow's big face clearly visible. In that look, with endless hatred of criminals. Well, but the next second, its pupils revealed anthropomorphic fear. The roar of fire sounded. I saw the fist wrapped in flames hitting its abdominal muscles firmly. The scalding and tearing sensation immediately spread all over the body. Scorching flames penetrated the beast's body. The formed long pillar of fire extended nearly 100 meters, burning through all the jailers behind it. For a while, the screams were endless. Plop. The Minotaur was reduced to a speck of charred coal. Then fall to the ground. Just a move? Ha ha ha, it's over. Hee hee ha, the hope of escaping has increased. If this powerful little girl is a man, I can't help it. Seeing this, the rest of the female prisoners suddenly put down their hearts. Subsequently, going away with even more crazy shocks. 6 floors are huge, not only the individual winding corridors. There is also a step ladder, and each small floor holds prisoners. In addition, the height of the eternal hell. Far away, it is even more unpredictable. It will take a lot of time to reach the intersection leading to the 5th floor just by running. The progress is too slow, I won't wait for you. Rodan glanced behind him. Press the right hand. A spiral-shaped pillar of fire spewed out. Drag him straight up. Do you need to wait? Crocodile snorted coldly. Turned into wind and sand. Do not know why. The tone of this guy in front of her made her feel a little inexplicably uncomfortable. The old man will not hold back. Jinping's fishpaw kicked. Lost in place. The 3 of them used their own methods to speed up. And at this time, in the upper corridor, suddenly, strands of purplish-black clouds and mists were blown out, quickly filling the air. But all the female prisoners who come into contact with it. The numb and tender voice rang out, and fell to the ground in an instant, losing consciousness. Then he was quickly subdued by the jailer amidst the thumping. Top. The sparks from Rodan's body dissipated and he stepped on the solid ground. In front of it is an extremely wide dark door. At this time, a cold voice echoed from above. Where do you want to go? A few minutes ago. Marineford. Marshal Sengoku, how's it going? I can't find it anywhere, in the marshal's office. A woman, vice admiral, with her legs spread apart, was dripping with sweat. Icy's execution is not far away. During the dangerous period when Whitebeard will appear at any time, we have searched the entire island and found no sign of Shichibukai Blackbeard. On the desk. A dove hat on his head. A woman with long whips on both sides of her hair and round glasses. Arms crossed chest. His expression became serious. Happily. Is it at this time? And the female vice admiral continued to report. There is one more thing. A warship without permission to sail has now arrived and impelled down. What? Sengoku suddenly lost his composure. Under the combination of the two, it gave her a bad feeling. At this time, there was a crisp sound of high heels hitting the ground outside the door. I'll go there. The voiceless sound fell. The female vice admirals on standby in the office all turned their eyes to the door. Seeing this slim figure, they slightly opened their eyes wide. Yellow Kazaru Admiral. At this time, on the 6th floor underground. Eternal hell is at the door leading to the upper floor. Bursts of poisonous mist are pouring down from above. The jailers who ran down for reinforcements all put on gas masks. The preparation is relatively complete. Hulala. A burst of fine yellow sand blows to Rodan's side. Turned into a figure. Followed by, it is a graceful, whale shark human being. Still not avoiding this woman? It's difficult now. The 2 looked at the top of the stairs, surging poisonous fog. All of them showed serious expressions. If you can't avoid it, just fight. Rodan didn't care. He is here to complete the task, and everything is based on escape. The life and death of this body, although female. But there is no such thing as pity for fragrance and pity for jade. Even if he was poisoned to death by Magellan in the end, it's none of his business. As long as there is one breath left, just let him escape smoothly. Above. There was a burst of fragmentary footsteps. A group of guards wearing gas masks were carrying something that looked like a purple girl. Run down the stairs. A gash on Zhao Zi. There was also billowing poisonous gas. It's all bursting out from inside. What's this? Is it a portable toilet? The corners of Crocodile's mouth twitched slightly, and he stepped back and covered his mouth and nose. It's not smelly, but the power is too great. The same is true for apples. This poison. Inhale a little. Her 5 senses gradually disappeared. Boom. The placement sound sounded. The toilet room also landed smoothly. There was a gurgling sound coming from inside, obviously excreting the Lord. At this time, a jailer approached and asked in a low voice, "The director has arrived, and the enemy is right in front of us. Are you still okay?" Well. The purple door curtain was pulled open. I saw Magellan with a willow waist, holding the delicate door with one hand, and walking out slowly while covering it with the other. Obvious. It's not the right time to vent. When Magellan saw the criminal in front of him, his face turned red. But still pretending to be serious. "Since I'm here, you're here too." The words are not halfway through. Rodan bent his knees. His body shot out like a rocket. He didn't bother to listen to her nonsense. Then, after approaching the sky above Magellan, he turned into fiery hands and stabbed 2 flaming spears viciously. Shenhuo Shiranui? In the face of sudden attacks. Magellan's eyes narrowed. Purple bubbles appeared all over his body. Dragon. In bubbles. 3 ferocious dragon-shaped poisonous dragons sprang up quickly. There are 2 dragons on the left and right, 1 for each bite. Then he swallowed the flame spear. Hong Guang just struggled slightly. It went off inside, and the dragon in the middle. Head twisted. It even bit straight towards Rodan's body. Rodan just moved closer. Can feel a corrosive gas. Mirror flame. He pressed down with one palm. A large wall of fire spewed out, freezing the giant poisonous dragon for a moment. Take the opportunity. He stepped on one foot. Stepping on the air to avoid the poisonous dragon, he circled around Magellan. The hardened fist had already been burned to the ultimate flame, and it slammed forward fiercely. Hot day. For a while, a red light illuminated the gate. It's dazzling. It seems that what is above the prison at this time is not ice, but a big sun shining with aurora. Even Magellan squinted his eyes, but, with keen perception, he also swung a huge fist wrapped in venom, hit it with precision. Boom. There was a bump, burn and corrode. The two are engaged in a fierce gladiatorial battle. Within 100 meters around, it's a picture of red and purple colliding and blending. It's so hot, I can't stand it. Not good, the venom is splashed here. Get out of here. Rely on the nearest female guards. Can't bear it first. Holding the weapon, he quickly moved away from the 2 of them. It's okay to be close to Magellan. Knowing the characteristics of his director, he would have been far away. They all ran away in time, but close to Rodan's. Before they escaped a few steps, it was spread by the flames and submerged in it. Not even a scream. Even Lao Sha and Jin Ping in the rear were pushed away by the raging firewaves. He also put his hands in front of his predecessor. For a while, the scene shocked Ji Doran. Has her ability actually reached this level? Speaking of which, I have fought Ms. Ace and she is very strong. He hesitated to speak. But, the temperature of the flames released in the past was far from this high. This strength. Compared with the past, it's like breaking through a level. And in a short period of time, it can form a stalemate with Magellan. Great progress. And who is Magellan? That's called a woman on the same level as the strongest among Marine Admiral and CPO. The combat power can be imagined. Even impelled down is known as the Iron Wall. Half of them. It is because of her guarding. In contrast, Ace's performance. That would be too dazzling. At the center. Hiss hiss, a large area of venom splashed out, easily corroding the floor tiles. Magellan's legs scraped the ground. Slightly took a few steps back. I was also surprised. But this alone is not enough, little girl. She scolded. The poisonous dragons on both sides twisted and bit the ace in the center. Humph. When I don't exist. Crocodile threw 2 groups of sandstorms, which blocked the attack of the 2 dragons under the rapid rotation. Only. Before she could smile, the poisonous dragon directly corroded the gravel and continued to bite and bite Rodan. Crocodile's face froze. Condensed thick sand. The hardness in grams is far more than that of stones, but it is still not blocked? What a hassle. Rodan, who is in a state of bombardment with Magellan. The flames have long since died down, relying on pure hockey consumption. See the poisonous dragon attack. Taking the opportunity to release his right fist, he turned around flexibly. It rolled over Magellan's head, immediately afterwards. After stepping on a cloud of airwaves in midair with both feet, he jumped up the stairs with flames. The whole set of movements can be described as smooth and smooth. The 2 dragons headed towards the place where Rodan disappeared, and collided straight into each other. Boom. But they didn't go away. Instead, under the control of Magellan, he turned into a poisonous dragon again and continued to chase Rodan. I won't let you run away. Talking. 2 more drilled out of her body. The target is directly at Crocodile and Evening. 1 against 3. She's going to eat it all in one go. At the same time, this is also the absolute confidence in your own venom. Regardless of these two, the predecessors were all Shichibukai after all. Let alone victory. It's okay to pester Magellan for a while. That's all. It took another tens of seconds. Magellan at the door felt Rodan running farther and farther, and couldn't hold back anymore. Facing two people. A wave of big explosions came directly. Various poisonous tricks emerged one after another. Soon, the two former Shichibukai couldn't hold on. After being infected with the venom and losing most of their combat power, they all fell to the ground. The gap is a bit big. Actually, don't blame them. In this kind of close to dark and confined space, the combat terrain is not good for them. Coupled with its own strong strength, it would be strange if he could beat it. If the terrain is changed to sea or desert, that's still fun. But the reality is not what if. Far away. Ha ha ha, my old lady finally ran out. Men, what about men? I'm dying of thirst. A group of female prisoners with muzzles and noses ran to the door excitedly, swaying at an arrogant pace. But after seeing the venom and Magellan all over the floor again. A turn around. He ran back quickly. Dragon. Magellan shouted in a deep voice. A profusion. He threw them all to the ground. Not even for a second. Magellan turned around indifferently, and then looked up the stairs. Poison channel. Immediately afterwards. A large amount of deep purple venom is like a flood breaking a dike. Squeezed toward the madness above. And Magellan's figure took advantage of the situation to get into it, like a flying loach. A wink. So he slid along the poison passage and jumped out 30 or 40 meters away. Outside Impel Down. The warship where the Flying Squirrel and Hancock were on had a fierce battle with a strange warship. As for the reason, there is no need to know anymore, because a pirate is a pirate. It's the same even if you become a Shichibukai, the two sides just use each other. Nothing more than a passive one active, the latter. You can turn back anytime. Now. Outside the large iron gate on the first floor of the sea. A group of Marines and jailers with guns, anxiously battered. One of them. Also holding a phone bug that turned into a devil. On the phone in a hurry. Master Deputy Director, are you saying that? Can't find someone now? But if we delay any longer, Blackbeard is about to break in. Flying Squirrel Vice Admiral. No, Flying Squirrel Vice Admiral has lost. The Pirate King has also been captured. What, so fast? Hannibal's panicked voice came from the phone bug. Don't hang up the phone bug, I'll contact the director myself. After a while, she spoke again. Okay, it's decided to let shear you out, you guys try to hang on. Hey. Dot, are you still there? Why is there no sound? At this time, the sound of picking up sounded. Thief, ha ha ha, they are all dead. What? You're black. The voice stopped abruptly. Missing a few teeth, dressed like an upstart Blackbeard, and dropped the phone bug. Now. Beyond the massive iron gates of Impel Down. The corpses of Marines and jailers have already been scattered all over the place, and it is only a matter of time before they want to break through the door. Now. Blackbeard looked at some of the trembling jailers inside the door. Laughed out loud. And her right hand. He was clasping a man with a fair neck tightly. Those feet in high heels, and slender legs with long hairy legs. It was shaking violently. Let go. Thief, ha ha ha. Just a little bit. Blackbeard gagged him roughly with a rag. Picked his chin with his index finger. The lust in the eyes is not concealed at all. Behind. Several female crew members also walked up arrogantly. Hey, Captain, is this the legendary Pirate King? Tisk tisk tisk, this kind of beauty is indeed the most handsome man. It still has leg hair, so masculine. The strength is also very strong. If it weren't for the captain's ability, it would be really difficult to subdue. No, it's so handsome. I really want to have a hard time with. Shut up. Let the captain come first. Several female crew members laughed wantonly. They dress carelessly. Even if it is gone, I don't care at all. Contrast Hancock. It's just that the shirt was ripped off. The pectoral and abdominal muscles were exposed, and the corners of the eyes were filled with tears. Seems humiliated. There was also a look of extreme disgust on his face. His heart. Only Luffy left. If you were defiled by these women. Hancock glanced at his face, not daring to think about it any further. Thief, ha ha ha. Now is not the time to talk about this. Badgers, hit our precious male emperor on the back. Blackbeard didn't want to let such a handsome man go. Subdue this man. But it will bring her a great sense of conquest. All right, Captain. Badgers first slapped the male emperor's ass. After taking advantage, it was carried on the shoulders. Alright. Blackbeard's eyes must show a fierce look. Now, every second counts. Talking. Black fluid flowed from her hands. Inside the door, a group of jailers held tridents, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. Has the vice admiral of the main department lost even a Shichibukai? This. If this comes in, what should we do? This kind of character. Where can they deal with it? Just desperate. Just when Blackbeard launched a strong attack and was about to break through the gate of impelled down, the jailers saw a flashing beam of light, coming at a gallop. That level of brightness, exaggeratedly covering the sun in the sky. They couldn't help but cover it with their arms. After seeing the clear figure, all the jailers immediately broke free from the previous fear and turned into a surprised face. That yellow suit, with that white justice cloak. That's right. Is it Admiral? Nonsense. You still don't recognize this flash? It must be her. That one is the sexiest in the entire book. Great. Kizaru Admiral is here. It is rumored that she is the highest combat power in Marine, the strongest among the 3 admirals. Now we have hope. The girls of the Blackbeard pirates were taken aback when they heard this. Especially after hearing the Admiral vocabulary. His face changed even more suddenly. Actually. Is it a yellow ape? Currently there are 3 admirals in Marine. Sparkle, Lava, Freeze. Just from the name. Find out which fruit is the strongest, although the crew were afraid. But Blackbeard is not afraid, at least his expression is not frightened at all. Thief, ha ha ha. Light? My old lady is the darkness that attracts everything. Even light can't escape. Blackbeard took a forced breath, turned around quickly, and activated the ability of Dark Fruit. You're quite confident, Blackbeard Tiki. But, at this time in the ear, but a frivolous female voice sounded. This made Blackbeard's scalp tingle suddenly, and he couldn't hide his frightened look anymore. It is clearly perceived by the eyes and ears. Predicted. Nothing. Is it too fast? Before she thought too much. A sharp beam of cross rose from the tip of a high-heeled shoe. Subsequently, close to Blackbeard's temple. The premise of activating the ability is to keep up with my speed first. Shoot. There was a gust of wind. There was no trace of Blackbeard in place. There is only one woman who is doing leg raises. And Blackbeard's body was kicked out. Looking from a distance, it looked like a golden shooting star. In an instant, it was drawn into the distance. Finally, with a plop, it fell to the surface of the sea. Immediately afterwards, a semicircular golden shield rises up, producing an extremely astonishing big explosion. Boom. Crackle. Resounds all the coast of impelled down. The power to roll up the waves is great. Even the warships in the distance were pushed to the walls of the city. There was an impact. At this time, a few Blackbeard crew members who were still in a daze. Only now did I come back to God. Pale lips. It turned into that they began to tremble. What happened? What happened? The captain was killed just like that. Badger swallowed wildly, not even caring about Hancock slipping off her shoulder. Full of fear. Wrong. This is definitely not the reason why the captain is too weak. This is a sneak attack. Yes, it must be so. There are more pirates captured than Marines killed. Paluzolino smiled slightly. Turn around a few times. He easily eliminated the female pirates in front of him. After that, she just exhaled lightly. I'm really tired. Huang. Kizaru Admiral, thank you for your hard work. A guard chief hurriedly approached the iron gate, and began to think, it must be very difficult to solve these people. No, I'm talking about the tiredness of the journey. Paluzolino shook his head. He began to straighten his slightly messy hair. It seems that the image is not good. He also took out the makeup mirror that he carried with him. Just opened it though. His face paused, and he immediately closed it again. Almost forgot. Thinking of this, Paluzolino said with a twinkle in his eyes, Hey, are you planning to keep me outside forever? When? Of course not. The chief guard apologized, and quickly ordered someone to open the iron gate. Crash. Paluzolino stepped on high heels. Step in. Tall figure. Make those around you feel small. Did you receive the news in advance when you came this time? The chief guard saw her attire, and that makeup mirror. The eyelids just flicked. I thought it was as coquettish as the rumors said. She actually wears men's clothes, and her bare legs are exposed. Don't women's legs look good? Certainly. She only dared to think about it. The surrounding female prison guards also looked at him with strange eyes. But after reacting, he quickly lowered his head and tried to cover his eyes. This is Admiral. If the weaker the person, the more thoughtful they are. Paluzolino glanced at it. She has long been used to it, and she doesn't care about anything at all. After saying this sentence, it turned into a speck of light and disappeared in place. Go. Go? It seems that I have heard the news of the riots below, so I went to help. It's really time to come. The highest combat power is to make people feel at ease. Yes, Kizaru Admiral and Director Magellan, with the combination of the two, the riot can be easily quelled. What the jailers don't know is, though Blackbeard didn't go in. But the one who swaggers in now will be a more troublesome woman. 5 floors underground. This is freezing hell. The pirates with a bounty of over 100 million are imprisoned, and the prisoners held on this floor are very painful and suffering. Because they are in an environment that is lower than the temperature of the big ice bank. Until the body is severely frostbitten until death. Only then can we be freed. Now, Rodan is here. However, he is still on the run, although at large. But he has unlocked a new way to use flames, which is to use the jet of flames. Realized high-speed flight. Alright, it's actually not that difficult. The only thing to do is to precisely control the power point. And a very high mastery of Mera Mera fruit, to do it. Thereby achieving stability, that's all. Rodan ran in front with a gorgeous firetail, while Magellan chased after with purple pillars. Passing flames splashed into the cell. It brought a touch of warmth to the female prisoners. It triggered another wave of shouts from the frozen female prisoners on the 5th floor of the basement. Miss. Let us go, let's help you deal with her together. That's right, our strength is very strong. Pity. No one will save them. I really want to let go. It is estimated that the first thing they do when they are relieved is to escape alone. It's really hard to catch up. Rodan clicked his tongue. After Magellan used the poison channel, he traveled freely at an extremely fast speed. This creates a distance between the two, shorter and shorter. Call. Rodan let out a breath. It was instantly frozen into a crystal clear snow mist, flying in the air. You can see the coldness in it. It also made the flames stagnate a little bit. But, not far ahead is the gate, soon. But at this moment, a yell sounded from above. Don't even think about running away, the poisonous dragon. Language fall. The 3 poisonous dragons blocked the entrance of the passage at a faster speed. No one can get in, no one can get out, immediately afterwards. A poisonous arm swung down towards Rodan and stabbed him right through. Call. Rodan used elementalization to dodge ahead of time. A fire spin. It landed on the snow tens of meters away. See the door blocked by venom. You can only temporarily give up the idea of escape. Your way is over. Fire fist ace. Magellan closed the poison channel. It seems that he has seen Rodan's strength, or he doesn't want to waste time. Go all out directly. Poison giant's judgment of hell. Say it. The poison she released. It suddenly turned from dark purple to blood-colored. Then it centers on Magellan himself. The bloody poison quickly enveloped her, forming a skull-shaped supergiant. The poison is fierce. Even a small drop of red liquid. Let the thick snow melt quickly, and gradually spread, corroding everything that is blocked. Very infectious. Then one move will determine the outcome. Rodan's eyes flickered. Put your hands on your shoulders. Fire. Along the ground. Dozens of huge spiral flames were created in an instant. Then, flames surged into the air, in the crazy spins and offers below. It turned into a giant fireball the size of a basketball court. It's so warm. Wait, why did it get hot so quickly? Hey, why do you even take that off? Snow, I want snow. Prisoners in the frost prison. The heat wave can be felt from a distance, so hot that they can't bear it even in this icy and snowy place. He quickly took off his prison uniform and pants. Still feel hot all over. Magellan, who turned into a poisonous giant, also clenched his fists. Only by you. Of course not. Rodan dragged a giant fireball in his left hand. Immediately afterwards, flames also rose rapidly from the right hand. In a blink, a fireball of the same size appeared again. Look from a distance. Like 2 blazing suns in hell. The corner of Magellan's mouth twitched. Shut up. She was afraid that if she said it again, it would immediately become 3. Immediately afterwards, the poisonous giant raised 2 pairs of bright red fists of corrosion, and slammed it up fiercely. Great flame precept, twin flame emperors. Rodan's muscles tensed. Bend your legs. Press the 2 giant fireballs and throw them away with all their strength. Cast. It's like 2 super meteorites. The power is terrifying. Boom. The sound of vibration permeated the air. It resounded throughout the 5 underground floors. The 2 collided. For a while. Half a frozen hell. They were all swept up in endless flames and blood-stained colors. This yellow and red. Countless prisoners looked sideways at him, feeling chills and pain. Immortals fight and mortals suffer. Aftermath. Almost tortured them to death. Hoo-hoo. I do not know how long it has been. The two seem to have exhausted their energy, and the fireworks gradually dimmed. And the ice hell is even more in a mess. Hundreds of meters away, a group of snow wolves that had been burnt to shreds could be vaguely seen, with a hint of fragrance in the burnt black. Terrible. You failed. Magellan knelt on one knee, half of his blood-red body was burned. Heal again. But, compared with the previous lively dragon and tiger, he swallowed it up. In contrast, Rodan. On the skin. Even every part was covered with blood-red venom. Even the previous elementalization did not escape. And this venom. It's still going on. It can only delay time by temporarily relying on hockey hardening. Rodan looked up slightly. Ace's delicate body. It's the limit to do this. Change yourself. But it won't be so embarrassing. Are you sure about me? Huh. Let's be more thorough. Magellan spit out a mouthful of poisonous mist, raised his fist and swung it down again. But, when approaching Rodan less than 3 meters away, there was a bang. Let her moves lead the way. Magellan looked suspiciously, only to see a big hole suddenly burst out at the entrance of the passage. See you later. Before the fist, impressively stood a woman wearing a marine cape and a yellow and white suit. Magellan, long time no see. Kizaru. Magellan withdrew his hands slowly and breathed a sigh of relief. You really came in time. Yo, you're right. A smile appeared on the corner of Peluzalino's mouth. Then, with her hands in her pockets, she shone with light. Then came to Magellan's side, dancing with long legs. Sorry, Magellan. What? Warning signs rose in Magellan's mind. But unfortunately it was too late. Boom. The blood armor shattered. The poison giant soldier that was still recovering instantly disintegrated. And the entity of Magellan. He was also sent flying hundreds of meters away, his face was still dazed before flying. Did she do something wrong? Goodbye. Peluzalino smiled, pointed and pressed towards the void. In an instant, dozens of laser beams penetrated Magellan's body. Finally fell into the icy forest. There were bursts of flashing explosions, and countless thick smokes were rolled out. This accident. He directly looked at the jailer who came for support, and the surviving female prisoner. What kind of joke is this again? Is there any love-hate relationship between the two? See Rodan here. The flames on his body also receded. Is it Peluzalino? Speaking up. The speed at which this guy's fingertips condense the light beams is faster than he imagined. I'm really sorry, young master, I'm late. Peluzalino came down to Rodan. See blood-red venom. With deep apologies, hands down for the night. Put your arms around Rodan. Hugged violently in his arms. Dwang workers. Be careful with the venom. Rodan broke free a little. This woman. It's really invisible. Is the young master caring about me? In naval headquarters, women are rarely cared about by men. Peluzalino covered her mouth and smiled. Speaking of which, why do you call me young master? Because it fits better that way. Peluzalino smiled and said, after all, at my age, I can almost be your. The word elder. She stopped talking. It would be disrespectful to say so. Well. Rodan glanced at her. Sissy Kizaru. There are wrinkles around the corners of the eyes and everywhere, even though I have been taking care of it all the time. But age doesn't matter. You can still see signs of age. Besides, the figure and the like are not out of shape, and the S-shaped curve is very kind. Ahem. Rodan quickly regained his senses. Age not a problem. The time wrap can help her go back 20 years. But, at present, Magellan's special red venom is still eroding him. I don't have that free time anymore. Leave first, that fellow Magellan. Seems like he's not dead yet. Does it need to be completely resolved? Peluzalino supported the mirror frame, and looked at the scorching place where the laser light burst out. Breath. If so, if not at all. Comparable to the existence of Admiral, it is indeed not so easy to die. There's no time to waste. The poison is too strong. My stamina and hockey are draining quickly. Rodan braced himself to his feet, but it's a little difficult. Leave here. You are a wounded person, you should take a good rest, hurry up and leave it to me. Peluzalino hugged Rodan with the Lord's hug. Then step on the high heels. The figure jumped out a lot, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. She can transform into particles of light and move at super high speed. But you can't take people with you, but. The general speed is not slow, in this icy hell full of battle marks. Along the way. Even if a jailer saw him, he didn't dare to go up and stop him. They even thought that this Marine Admiral was dissatisfied with Magellan. That's why I moved my hands. Then take the executioner away. This. It does make sense. It's just a little too aggressive. 4 floors underground. Gatekeeper of blazing hell. Hannibal, who heard the news, couldn't believe his eyes. See Kizaru fleeting, she quickly stopped. Kizaru Admiral, did you make a mistake by sending Magellan to? She still had a little fantasy in her heart, pity. Fantasy was not echoed. The other side Rodan, who was being hugged, felt the movement of the suit. Feeling dizzy. Young master, there is some movement ahead. What? It's a group of acquaintances. Pelusolino smiled slightly. Really? It wasn't long before the voice fell. A group of fugitives appeared at the entrance of the passage. They wore heavy makeup and black mesh suspenders. Running posture and it's fancy. Leading. It's a woman with a purple afro and a crown. The head is big and exaggerated. Ivankov? Rodin's eyelids twitched. Isn't this sissy appearance exactly the same as when she transformed with female hormones? As for what follows behind, it's not so much a human and demon partner. Rather, it is the normal dress and posture of women. Pelusolino corrected the pronunciation. Young master, she is Ivankov. Don't worry about them, just go. Now, because it is a circular channel. The center of the 2 sides is the gate leading to the 3rd floor. And Ivankov, who was running, looked shocked when he saw the 2 of them from a distance. Hey, I read that right. Why did this guy come here? Admiral. Is it for support? It happened to be this old acquaintance. But I can only pretend not to know her. After all, there are phone bugs monitoring all around, but Kizaru exposed his identity. Not good. Just as the 2 sides approached, Ivankov raised a thick eyebrow at Kizaru. Do you want to act a little bit? This is Marine Admiral. It's over, I was caught by her. Why are you here? The prisoner following Ivankov panicked. But what they didn't expect was, Kizaru hugged Rodan and didn't look at them as he passed by. It flashed up directly. This made Ivankov, who was about to use the death wink, confused. Isn't she afraid of being exposed? Wait, the one being hugged is Ace? Starvation hell on the 3rd basement level, just entered. The 2 of Rodan met. A girl in slippers in a blue shirt and red shorts. Next to. And women with lipstick and eye makeup running like swans. Ace. When the slipper girl saw Rodan, her beautiful eyes widened. At this moment, she only had eyes for Rodan. Little straw hat, don't get close. There is a Marine Admiral. The swan girl quickly dissuaded her. But Lu Fei didn't care so much, both feet jumped up suddenly. Swinging fists. Like a machine gun under rubber retraction, dodge Rodan and shoot wildly at Pelusolino. Shesh. The hole sounded. Luffy without hockey has only reached light particles. The rest of the hair was untouched. It doesn't affect people's running at all. This girl Lu Fei is quite violent. Rodin's eyelids twitched. But I'm not in the mood to play with her anymore, now it's time to hurry. That's all. A dramatic scene happened. Lu Fei boomed all the way. The light beams spread out in bursts. Rubber fist down. But he didn't even hit a ghost shadow. Ice, I will definitely save you. Lu Fei didn't give up. Then, it blasted all the way to the 1st floor above the ground until it was close to the Deco exit. Didn't cause any damage to it. Outside the iron gate. Pelusolino put Rodan down. Press your index finger. The laser cut a big hole in Lu Fei's shoulder. But Lu Fei still gritted his teeth and ran forward. Dorag's daughter is really persistent. Let it be with her. Rodan let out a breath. A relaxation. He couldn't help but sat on the ground. Without Magellan's antidote, this body is exhausted. At this time, the system beeps. Ding, congratulations on completing the Sissy world and escaping the Impel Down mission. After successfully returning to the original world, you will get rich rewards. Heard the words. Rodin's eyes. It started to spin around like a vortex. Get ready to say goodbye to your world. I'm still looking forward to the world you live in. Pelusolino put his hands in his pockets. He looked towards Yuan Kong. My heart is full of curiosity about the world of grandfather.
Ace. Lu Fei's voice gradually faded away.
After the dizziness subsided, the familiar scene returned to Rodin's eyes. Light shells, gold, red carpet, and Mihoko was standing by. End time. An hour passed quietly, and the sky had already darkened. A bright moon appeared. Finally, back to the normal world. Rodan squeezed the space between his brows. Until now. Recalling those female prisoners in the prison, seeing the gesture of the man. It all made him palpitate. It's even more fanatical than meeting celebrities and idols. And the task this time is also considered difficult, the degree of difficulty of Magellan's venom. It is simply a gangrene. Hockey can only be used as a means of delay, beyond his expectations.
But the job is done. I don't know what the reward will be.
So far. The system rang coldly. Ding, summoning girly characters. Congratulations, you have successfully completed this task and are receiving rewards. Poison fruit, no side effects, 4.5-star character fragments * 4 pieces, 6/10. Random sissy lottery reduced by 3 days. 4 remaining days. Rodin's first glance. Then I paid attention to this paramecia poisonous fruit. The fruits provided by the system have no consumption conflicts and no upper limit. And it eliminates the side effects. Don't eat it. What a pity. Tell the truth. Poison fruit is very strong. So powerful that even the eater, that is, Magellan himself, can't stand it. One day. Almost had diarrhea for nearly 10 hours. That sour feeling. Ordinary people are afraid that they will become numb after squatting in the pit for half an hour. It's hard to imagine what a painful realization Magellan had to endure. But then again, if Magellan does not have the disadvantage of diarrhea, you can save almost 10 hours of time. Then make good use of these times and you will become stronger. It's a pity that there is no if. But in my hands, that would make all the difference. Rodan showed a slight smile, but out of caution, he asked, System, if there are no side effects, including diarrhea, right? Yes, host. The fruit provided by the system is an optimized version. After eating it, the physical fitness will be much higher than the toxicity brought by the fruit itself. The system explained. Heard the words. Rodan was relieved. With the thought. Purple spiral-shaped fruit appeared on the fruit plate beside it. You're awake. Mihawk's red lips faded away. At the same time, he also noticed this fruit, and leaned slightly to observe it. Do you want me to skin you? She blinked her long eyelashes. Asked with a smile. I didn't ask what kind of fruit it was. No, I'll eat it directly. Rodan squeezed with one hand. He swallowed it directly, chewed it a little and then swallowed it. Pause time. There is a strange force in the body. And it also naturally escapes from the pores of the skin. Then it turned into a purple mist. It got into Mihoko's mouth and nose beside him. Mihoko raised an eyebrow slightly. Subconsciously waved away to disperse, but still absorbed by it. So fast? Because Rodan just ate it, he didn't control the lele fruit well. After reacting. Open your mouth and inhale. Absorbed the escaping poisonous mist. How do you feel? It's a little uncomfortable, but it will be fine soon, and it's nothing serious. Mihoko Kaido. At the same time, there was some surprise in my heart, which was just a little bit. If ingested in large quantities, not fortified yet. Even with her physique, she couldn't stand it. It seems that this is your new fruit ability? That's right, it's the power of the poisonous fruit. Rodan nodded. He's trying not to talk too much now. Because once said more. The poisonous mist will be spit out unconsciously from the mouth. I'm fine. But there is something wrong with the people around me. Although an antidote can be made, to put it simply, it is something that induces vomiting, or diarrhea. Inhale the gas. Discharge below. It's not easy to let a few female crew members become a big man for him. Vomiting every day and night. It seems that we need to work hard to develop and control the fruit ability. There are training cards. It didn't take him any time. Rodan glanced at the other 2 awards. 4.5-star character fragments. Pop up only the last 4 can be collected. Thinking of 4.5 stars, he was curious about what kind of strength he could display. And the girly random lottery draw was also reduced by 3 days, shortened to 4 days. I don't know until the next lottery is opened. Can you collect 4.5 stars? Take it out by the way. All in all, the rewards of this task are still good. Rodan regained his senses and looked forward. At this time, from the vortex wide open below, a beautiful figure slowly walked out. Young master, is this your body? You really are a handsome young man. Paluzolino appreciatively said, let me go. I guess there will be many female marine soldiers chasing you. See this marine cape and yellow and white suit. Mihoko frowned. Kizaru? There was something strange in her. Not to mention putting on makeup. Still this dress? A woman summoned from the sissy world shouldn't be dressed like this. It's me, Your Excellency, the #1 swordsman in the world. I never expected that you were also the young master's female subordinate. Paluzolino said. It's not just her. And Sakaski, Doverbaji and the others. Although you are not from the same world. Rodan leaned back on the gold-backed chair. But we can talk a little bit if you have time. Count her. Now there are 3 4-star female titans. Top? Not afraid of a fight at all. Oh? Sakaski, is that a Kainu guy? Is she there too? Paluzalino is suddenly interested. Was a colleague in Marine. At this. Is it the same? Things are getting interesting. That's right, she's already here, Rodan said. At the main entrance of Feijo's hall, a person stepped forward. The crisp sound of the high heels colliding with the ground was extremely loud in the hall. Are you? Paluzalino? Sakaski, it's pronounced, Lee, not Lee. The corner of Paluzalino's mouth twitched, turned around. But he was taken aback when he saw the person coming. Then point to her, he laughed unceremoniously. You guy. Don't you like me wearing suit shorts and high heels? How do you wear it yourself now? Wait, why are you so young? The laughter stopped suddenly. For the first time, she brought the Akainu in front of her eyes into the Akainu in her world. After reacting, only then did he regain his expression. Huh, it's really ridiculous that the first Marine Admiral has turned into an old woman. Sakaski puffed out his chest. This is the first time she has seen a sissy version of Kizaru. How do you feel? How do you look familiar with yourself? If you're still so slow here, you'd better get out. The mouth is still so ruthless. Paluzalino narrowed her eyes slightly. She hates people saying she is old the most. Speaking of which, there's one thing I almost forgot. Rodan eating an apple above. A pat on the head. Porosali. Forget it, I'll call you the monkey girl. How about it? Do you want to regain your youth? Talking. Rodan looked at the time wrapper of the storage ring. Of course, young master. Paluzalino's eyes lit up. If the young master can really make himself younger. That. Let her do anything. And Sakaski is an inexplicable meaning. This man. Is it a wholesaler? How much rejuvenation is there anyway? Next morning. Worldwide, the news of the defeat of the four emperors, Kaido, spread widely. To keep up with. It's time for Ace's public execution, that is today. These two things, it's overwhelming, all over the world. Newspapers flooded the sky, in East Blue. Sibarati. Because of Straw Hat Crew's reputation, it brought Sanji's fame. Now the entrance has been transformed into a curly eyebrows, sausage mouth appearance. This has really attracted many guests. Now, the chef who is nervous about cooking. Sanji became famous in Grand Line. That's right, we have benefited from his favor, and our wages will be higher when we are born. Hey, compared to Rodan, that kid is still far behind. I said. If the entrance is designed to look like Rodan, wouldn't it be? Shush, we can talk among ourselves, don't mention Rodan outside, the head chef has given special instructions. Indeed, that guy is regarded as a cancer by the world government. In the luxurious dining hall, a group of diners saw a new newspaper. I didn't even have time to eat the delicious food, so I quickly took a closer look. In fact, it's a recent event, one after another. Every time, the eyeballs are shocked, and everyone's desire has to be aroused. Oh my god, Rodan defeated a new world pirate overlord? Show me quickly. Is there another legend in the sea? Speaking of which, he is still from our East Blue. Everyone fell silent after hearing the words. East Blue. It has always been called the weakest sea area. Although a symbol of peace, the people of East Blue feel nothing at all. Is impossible. And Rodan's frequent newspapers. Let them have a feeling of elation. South Blue. On an island. It was pouring rain. At this time. One by one, the islanders are holding umbrellas and buying fruits from vendors who have set up greenhouses. Only 3 hours left. Has Whitebeard arrived yet? Who knows, but will it really show up? Even Whitebeard is quite old. Is that so? After all, he is a survivor from before the era of great pirates, so he should be very old. I haven't seen any big news about him for several years. What are you talking about? Naval headquarters will gather elites from all walks of life and wait for it with all their forces because they are opponents that cannot be ignored. I think Whitebeard will appear in 9 out of 10. Compared to this. The Shichibukai hunting party in its prime for defeating one of the four emperors, if they even fought. Several people heard the words. There was a chill all of a sudden. The Rodan regiment disappeared after the fierce battle with the Beast regiment. And at naval headquarters, the rest of the Shichibukai came together. Combine the purpose of the Rodan regiment. This. It goes without saying, right? The direction of the war has been completely unpredictable. North Blue. On Icy Island. Because of the impending war, all the shops were even closed for it. Hey, wine, bring the wine to the boss. Who still has the heart to do business on such a day? I don't know how big a war will break out. The seller in a feather coat drove them away. Not to mention that the Shichibukai hunting group is also missing. Go back, if the world still exists tomorrow, I will open my business. The battle has become tense. The most elite Marines stationed on the island. They were all transferred. How can this not cause panic and horror? Then sell us wine. It feels like we are about to go to the execution platform. We couldn't live without alcohol, the two men wearing hoods said helplessly. And so on. Ziyang was equally nervous, and they all talked about it. Inside the tavern. Don't compare him to an ordinary old man, he hasn't aged at all. We just saw this man sitting there for a split second. A big man with a bald head and a broken leg took a sip of wine. I gave up hope of surviving. Beside the lighthouse at Twin Point. Whitebeard pirates. What a long memory. Crocus on the recliner. Putting down one, picked up another newspaper. Take a look. He stood up abruptly and took off his reading glasses. This guy. And Buggy, he even beat Kaido. On the Grand Line. There are still many people who are worried about the upcoming turmoil, and it is difficult to calm down. So I prayed silently. But there are always pros and cons in the world. Some people wish things could get bigger and bigger. For example, the one on the Cake Island. In a giant desert castle. Crack, click, click. Chew. Accompanied by the sound of laughter. Mommy, this is a show, isn't it? The old man Whitebeard should have ended with Rodan long ago. The four emperors' aunt grinned, but then. The smile faltered suddenly. Huh? That guy Kaido was actually defeated again, or by a rookie pirate? The breath of terror. Emanating from her body. Parasparrow, who was reporting, saw his drooping long tongue tremble suddenly. Mom, it's not just Kaido alone. It's because almost the entire Beast Corps was present that they were defeated. What? The aunt opened her eyes suddenly. The island where naval headquarters is located. On Marineford. There is a large town where most of Marine's family lives, and it has become empty at the moment. And disappearing residents, but he was persuaded to take refuge. The other side. People pass through places of refuge. A large screen on the Saboti archipelago follows the real-time progress of the public execution. And the reporters and photographers gathered from all over the world are also ready to deliver the news to the world as soon as possible. As expected, the Marine headquarters put all their efforts into the formation. A young man holding a video camera saw the cannons of warships on the screen and many Marines participating in the battle. Sighed. Even so. I heard that the powerful Marine recruited through this world conscription has not yet appeared. Whitebeard should know that too. Even so, is he going to show up? A man in business attire broke out in a cold sweat. While talking. While recording something in a notebook with a quill. Less than 3 hours had passed since the execution. Marineford. In the marshal's office. In front of a plaque on the wall that says, Absolute Justice. Garp facing the gate, he walked out with low eyes. Ba, the eating sheep raised its head and howled. Sengoku glanced at the overturned water glass on the desk. He let out a deep breath, didn't say much. At this time, a vice admiral with a big sword on his back rushed in again. Marshal Sengoku. The whereabouts of Roden's group, there is still no trace. Sweat stained his forehead. Roden's airship. Flying is transparent and silent, which is difficult to capture. As soon as the current patrol ship goes to sea, will be destroyed by the Whitebeard pirates. All that's left is eyeliner. It's getting harder to find the Rodan regiment, and the battle is getting tougher. There is no doubt. He is coming this way, and we can't stop him. Crane also came in from the door and shook his head. The Whitebeard regiment is joined by the Rodan regiment. I know, but Ace must be punished. Sengoku squeezed the space between his eyebrows. I don't think those 5 people will appear. I had close contact with them at that time, and I could feel their vitality and breath. Already reached the end. That's the call to death. But the threat of Roden's regiment is not limited to these 5 people. There are also a group of strong female crew members. Plus Rodan himself. This monster with many fruits condensed together. Crane sat on the sofa and raised his eyes slightly. Do you want to make concessions? Withdraw Shichibukai temporarily. Rodan can repel Kaido regiments in a short time. Indeed, it exceeded their expectations. Would it be possible to avoid contact with them by withdrawing? Start with East Blue. Until the capital of 7 Waters. The conflict between them and this newly promoted Sea Emperor has long been unavoidable. Sengoku clenched his fists. Marine can't back down. Instead of spreading your strength, it's better to fight with all your strength. His confidence in speaking. It comes from the heritage of Marine and world government for 800 years. In addition to this world conscription, big deal. Annihilation in one fell swoop. Oh. Looks like there's something else I don't know about. Crane's eyes flashed. She read something in Sengoku's tone. This moment. On Marineford Square. Don't be careless. No matter what happens, there are only 3 hours left. It will all be over then. A giant, vice admiral, raised his arms around his chest loudly. Oh. His voice. In exchange for the enthusiastic response of nearly 100,000 elite marines. And in the outer bay of the crescent-shaped barrier, there are currently 50 large warships surrounding it. The inner bay is covered with countless heavy artillery. All ready to go. Those who guard the port at the forefront of the army, and those who hold the key to the war. Pirate 7 warlords of the sea, they are. Bartholomew Kuma, Dracule Mahawk and Boa Hancock. Well, there are only 3 left, although it looks a bit shabby. But their strength dare not be underestimated. But the breath of a tyrant bear, it seems so weird that people can't notice it. Besides, it's the 8 giants vice admiral forces in the rear. Under the scaffold. Impressively, there were 5 men in various cloaks walking slowly in a long line. Until the top 3. Only, sit down, the other 2. One is wearing a purple suit and the other is wearing a green suit. The marine soldiers also moved the seats in time, placed them on the far left and right sides, and sat down. That's admirals, this suffocating sense of oppression. Eh? Wait, the other 2 walking together is Wei. It must be Admiral who was specially recruited this time. I said why it has not been announced, so it was unveiled at this juncture. For a while, 5 admirals gathered together. Let all the marines present be breathless. Subsequently, it's a roar like a wave. There are waves of swords and swords waving. Admiral. Still 5 people. With the addition of the 2 highest combat powers, this is enough to instantly shake the morale of the marines. All justice imaginable at the moment, in order to prevent Ace from being recaptured, awaits the arrival of the Whitebeard pirates. In some place, on the dark steps, there was a sound of the bracelet hitting. And handcuffed. It was Ace with a red bead around his neck and a bare upper body. Behind it. On the other hand, 2 execution soldiers with spears escorted him tightly to a high place. Ready to execute. But suddenly a white light flashed. Let mutations happen. Where does the light come from? It's so dazzling. Too strange. The 2 execution soldiers subconsciously covered their eyes with their hands. Soon. The white light fell silent. When they opened their eyes again. A low soft voice suddenly sounded. Those who listened were numb all over. Are you kidding me? Seeing this, the 2 execution soldiers immediately stepped back a few steps in fright. I can't even hold the bracelet, on the comm belt. A few nautical miles away from 9 Snake Island. A flying boat spinning a windwheel is galloping out. Now. In the first place in the golden open air hall. Rodan squeezed his right hand, then crushed a white ball. Instantly. A beam of light flashed away. The meatballs condensed again, but the light dimmed. The girly replacer has taken effect. Random selection, the selected Huaquan Icy chooses to replace it immediately? Ace? What a coincidence. Rodan froze for a moment. I don't know what Whitebeard will look like when he sees his son and turns into a daughter. And really them. Think about it. His face couldn't help being a little weird. Then. Replace it immediately. Replacement in progress. Replacement succeeded. Congratulations on obtaining the 4.5-star character fragment 1/7. That's right. No matter how small an ant is, it's still meat. Rodan nodded. Speaking up. The replacer was obtained by signing in when he passed by 9 Snake Island. Effect. It is a replacement with the girlish characters in other parallel worlds and normal characters in this world. Simply say. That is, you come to me, and I come to you. Is permanent. And after each replacement, he will get fragment rewards of varying amounts. But. Except that the first use is free, if you want to start the second replacement. You need to consume 1 devil fruit. The 3rd and 4th times I don't know what to ask for. But Rodan feels that it is still relatively cost-effective at this stage. There are only 2 days left before the next sissy character arrives. Rodan looked to the blue sky, just hours ago. The system reminded Murloc Jinbei to give up the position of Shichibukai, because the time was also shortened by 2 days. Count system rewards. That's a total of 5 days. And Jinbei. Rodan figured he was in prison and gave up the Shichibukai position. Reason. Naturally, they want to prevent the Whitebeard regiment from going to war. Then there are 3 left, so are you ready? Rodan murmured. A gleam burst out of his eyes. Shichibukai is just an appetizer. After he possessed these powerful sissy combat power. It's not limited to this. Real target. It's the Void Throne from last time. Marineford. after Sengoku issued the order to escort Ace to the scaffold. He got up from his seat and walked towards the door of the office. Announce that. News that will shock the world. That's when Sengoku was walking down the corridor of the building and heading down the stairs. A messy footstep came up from below. Marshal Sengoku, something is wrong. The escort in yellow uniform ran up in a hurry. Sengoku frowned slightly as he paused. At this important juncture, as an escort, he actually ran up in person? What's your business? The executioner. The executioner. Ace turned into a woman. Sengoku's mouth twitched. Do you know what you're talking about? It's absolutely sure, it's still very beautiful. No, we specially asked the female marine to check it, and it is confirmed that it is a female. When the escort said this, it also feels pretty bland. But no way. The facts are here. All his masculine features disappeared in the blink of an eye. Ridiculous. Are you sure you weren't replaced during the escort? Sengoku had a serious face, but inside, it's about to collapse. Did something go wrong in a pinch? Sengoku, he's right. We did a detailed check. It's unbelievable, but the woman is definitely Ace, it's just getting weird. Crane also came up. As for the replacement, in the current situation where everyone is on guard, even flies fly in. It's impossible for someone to steal the sky and change the moon under our noses. But just in case, people are looking for it. Say it. She turned her questioning gaze over. Why did you tell me now? Marshal Sengoku, we just found out. Damn it. Take me there to have a look. Sengoku clenched his fists, stepped forward quickly, and then glanced at Tsuru. Shaozuru, let Kizaru and Fujitora look for it together. This issue. It's just nonsensical. Crane nodded. Then headed in the other direction. Coincidentally, Garp was also oncoming. He is not in a good mood. But he still raised his head and asked. Xiaohei, what happened in such a hurry? Your precious grandson is now a granddaughter, he said angrily. Garp. For a while. Headquarters up and down. Seems to be starting to get weird, soon. Sengoku followed the escort to the place where Ace was temporarily held. Just came in. Then there was a billowing heatwave coming. Immediately afterwards, it was quickly dissipated by the extremely cold air. Let me go. There was a sweet voice, but respond to her. But there was a click, sound of handcuffs, it's unbelievable. Aokiji let out a breath, then withdrew his hand. Immediately afterwards, the two escorts in the distance quickly grabbed the woman. This woman has shawl-length hair. Although there are moderate spots on her face, she can't hide her beauty at all. Body shape. The pride is unbearable. Although there are some stains on the skin, the fair complexion can still be seen. In short, definitely women. Aokiji put his hands in his pockets, took back the air conditioning on his body, and said hello. Ah, Mr. Sengoku, you are here too. This is an interesting thing. You also saw that she used the ability of Mera Mera fruit. Where is the fun? Sengoku's mouth twitched. See here. He was also confused. It is indeed the power of Mera Mera fruit, but why? Aokiji, Sengoku, it's you who are strange, right? You turned into a man. Ace raised her head. Her hair fell loose. Strange to say, she was also on the way to be escorted a few minutes ago. A burst of white light suddenly rose, and then the world in front of her. No, the world hasn't changed, but all the familiar people in front of me have changed. Become a man. Thinking, she glanced at the two covers below her neck. His face flushed slightly. Hey, why did you put on such a strange thing for me? Do you want to humiliate me? Take it off quickly. You. Sengoku pointed at her and swallowed. Another glance at Aokiji. Are you sure she's Fire Fist Ace? Well, except for being a little weird, it should be right. Aokiji also looked helpless. Mr. Sengoku, the time is already very tight, if you delay. Whitebeard was probably about to come, at this time. Also flashed a beam of light. It was Kizaru with his hands in his pockets. What a coincidence, Kuzan, you are here too. Kizaru, what do you want? Sengoku said. Mr. Sengoku, Fujitora and I have not found any trace of Ace in the headquarters. Kizaru scratched his head. After seeing Icy, she suddenly leaned her head towards her and pursed her lips. Yo. Where is this beautiful lady from? Mr. Sengoku, are you going to let her execute instead of Ace? Kizaru, how did you become like this? Ace frowned. The subconscious is farther away. At the same time, the doubts in my heart are also getting heavier. In the end, what happened? Etc. Sengoku's furrowed brow eased. He suddenly remembered something. There was once a missing prisoner in Impel Down, and those with more powerful abilities seemed to be able to change the gender of people. Will it be? Ace was in prison before coming to the headquarters and was given abilities in advance. Only now did it explode. Then, want to get away with it? Although this idea is a bit imprecise, it can only be explained in this way. I'll ask you one last time, what's your name? Ace. Ace, who is your father then? Sengoku's eyelids twitched. It's not right. Actually admitted it? Father. I'm only Whitebeard old. Then get ready for punishment. Sengoku finally checked. A special tattoo of the Whitebeard regiment on her back. Nodded. At any moment, Marine's coat fluttered and walked outside the door. Give her a little makeup and dress up as a man. I can't control that much anymore. A dead horse is also a living horse doctor. It's always bad to come to execution. Is there even a shadow of the executioner gone? Just execute me directly. Why do you want to insult me? Like this. Ace said. Mouth is gagged. Then after a little processing. The two escorts held ice and followed Sengoku to the execution platform step by step. Approaching the stage. 3 video phone bugs are pointing at the top, live broadcasting in real time. Sengoku wiped his face, feeling a little impulsive. Ace was put on a light red top. Standing at the door right now. In front of her is the road leading to the execution platform. Put away. Looking down from this angle, you can see several giants. And nearly 100,000 elite marines. Huge and grand. Enough to inspire awe. A breeze blows. Scraping her hair that had just been shaved short. There was a wave of fluctuation in Icy's heart. All men. So, is she hallucinating? Is it all caused by that weird white light? Ren Icy couldn't think of it. She was actually switched worlds. The culprit, of course, is Rodan. Ace closed her eyes. When it opened again, it resolutely walked forward. Audience. 3 video phone bugs live streamed this scene without taking their eyes off it. Passed on to the Sabodi archipelago. Sabodi's side. Bubbles rise from the screen one by one. Hey, look, Firefist Ace is out. Why does it feel a little different? I don't know, the lens is too far away to see clearly. The people who came to watch felt something was wrong. But can't see clearly. I didn't think too much about it. Marineford. Icy has already stepped onto the iron ladder, walking towards the final journey step by step. He is the man. Who may become the trigger for a great war that shakes the world. At the same time, the heart is also the culprit who controls the fate of the world. There are many Marines with spears on their backs below. At this moment, they all looked up at the person who was detained on the execution platform. Above. Ace fell to her knees on the wooden floor. Sengoku on the side. Seeing that she not only tied up her clothes to cover the waves coughing, she also had some dust on her face. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Anyway. The execution must go on smoothly, and it is naturally the best to avoid mistakes. Get out of the way, all of you. Yes. The 2 execution soldiers took back the long-handled knives that were placed in front of Icy. Each stood up and went back. Bring the phone bug. Yes. The executioner took out a green phone bug and handed it to Sengoku quickly. Sengoku walked up to Ice's side. With his left hand, he dragged the loudspeaker bug to his mouth. There is something I want to convey to you in advance. Amplified. The audience Marine, including Smoker, Hina, Flying Squirrel and other generals, all focused their gazes together. Listen carefully. Portgas D. Ace, about the significance of this man dying here today. At this time, Icy on the side spoke inappropriately. Hey, I have to say it a few times. I am a woman. But. Sengoku didn't answer her, but acted like he didn't hear. Under the execution platform. Garp lowered his head slightly and said nothing. He stared ahead and said, it's not your fault. Ha 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 ha, women at this time are really gentle, Xiaohei. Garp forced a smile on his face, as if he had thought of something. He asked suddenly, Xiaohei. You said before that I have 10 granddaughters? It doesn't matter now. On stage. Sengoku stood very straight. Ace, state your father's name. For a while. Those who watched the live broadcast in Sabodi were a little confused. Father. Why ask this? Eyes glanced at Sengoku, and said, Father, Portgas Rouge. Well, Sengoku with the phone bug. I'm speechless. Could it be the sequelae caused by the fruit ability? Can't tell the difference between father and mother? He tries his best. Use something to explain it. Sengoku coughed. Wei Wei took the phone bug away and whispered something. Then. Report your mother's name. Grandma. My granny's Whitebeard. Sengoku's mouth twitched. Granny's head. Fortunately, the speaker bug was far away, otherwise it would have to spread. Wrong. Only Whitebeard, no one else. Ace gritted her teeth and roared, She will not admit it. That irresponsible bastard is Rogers. We were desperately looking with our eyes wide open, and there might be some island left. Sengoku ignored her. He explained to the phone bug by himself. It tells the story of Ace's mother, and how she was eventually found out. At last. Revealed her identity. Your father is One Piece, Gold D. Roger. Finished speaking. Many Marines, as well as the newspaper reporters in Sabodi, they all showed expressions of astonishment at this moment. This is big news. Hurry up and notify the headquarters. It's out of order. Still alive, the blood of One Piece? The son of the One Piece must be very cruel. It was a good execution. Did he inherit his strength from his father? Anyway, Firefist Ace is doomed. All kinds of people surround Sabodi's shelter. That alone. They feel that watching this live broadcast is not a loss. Immediately afterwards, at Naval Headquarters. After revealing the amazing identity of Ace, a series of things suddenly broke out. Marshal Sengoku, a Marine general, holding a military salute behind the execution platform, he said in a panic. The door of justice opened automatically without receiving any instructions. There is no way to contact the power room. What did you say? Sengoku's expression changed suddenly. At the same time, above the sea area ahead, a faint mist suddenly rose. Dozens of pirate ships appeared inside, coming. The lookout staff left the lookout mirror. Everyone, get ready for battle. Language fall. Heavy artillery was aimed at the front. Suddenly appeared. Where did it come from? A cold sweat trickled down Sengoku's forehead. Can enter Marineford, the sea area belonging to Marine. Go the right way. But they will be discovered immediately, but they have not received the slightest news. It's the big fleet of pirate ships. Find out where Whitebeard is. Wandering Knight Doma, Lei Ching Maku Guy, Brother Dekalban, Great Eddie Spider, Squirt. Each of them is a first-class master, and each of them is a captain who is famous all over the world in New World. There are a total of 43 ships, and there is no sign of Whitebeard in the captains. But there is no doubt that these are Whitebeard's pirates. The watchman reported nervously. Ace on stage. A drop of sweat remained. Even you. These fleets are very familiar to her, but the more they are like this, the more weird they feel in her heart. Is it a woman? She felt that her worldview was being severely impacted. Soon. There was a surge of sound in the inner bay. There was also a big bubble. Below the execution platform. The 5 seated admirals. Some movement has been sensed. Not far away. Garp also got a little nervous. People come out from unexpected places? Is the cloth wrong? Crane's forehead was dripping with sweat. Confront Whitebeard. Can't be too cautious, but they made a mistake. Is it possible? A shadow has been found on the bottom of the bay. So that's it. Did their ships come from the bottom of the sea after coating? Sengoku clenched his fists, his heart speeding up a bit. A water column appeared in the inner bay, followed by a breakthrough sound. Moby Dick got out. Its huge whale hull faces the huge seagull logo of Marineford. Immediately afterwards, 2 more large ships with black whales on their prows suddenly got out. Facing the other 2 sides respectively, invasion into the bay. That's the first captain, Marco, and all 14 captains are here. T on the Moby Dick. There was a knocking sound of dong dong dong. Like the sound of weapons hitting the ground. Immediately afterwards, one holds a naginata. A mighty man in a white cloak came to the bow of the ship. Straight ahead. Gu la la la, we haven't seen each other for decades. Sengoku. Is my dear son all right? Above. Execution stand. Your son is now a daughter. Certainly. This is not important for now. Sengoku's face was also sweating. I really didn't expect to be invaded by him at such a close distance. It's already an extremely dangerous distance. Ace knelt aside. At this time, a look of surprise was revealed. This appearance and smile are at least 90% like that of the old lady. But flat-chested and protruding, it was Haki who ruined the grandmother. At this moment, suddenly a gust of wind blew up. The fine ashes on Isis' thin face. Most of them were blown away, revealing that delicate face. Immediately afterwards, the wind continued. The button of the light red robe on her body was loosened, and it was blown to the sides of her shoulders. Showing a hooded. Gu la la la, wait for me, I. Whitebeard grinned. Suddenly there was a stagnation. At the same time, the huge airship has passed through the calm belt, approaching Marineford silently. The storm it brings will completely tear down all mountains. Ace? Whitebeard's thick voice became deeper and deeper. The breath is generally the same. So, did Marine do something wrong? But, what's the point? Why is Ace so swollen? Even the face has become more beautiful. What is this all about? Hey, is that really Ace? The tone of all the captains became strange. Brother. Why did they suddenly become siblings?
Sabayati Archipelago. The recorder forgot to write notes.
The reporter forgot to press the shutter. Now. Through the real-time broadcast of the video phone bug, people from all over the world went blank for a moment. Daughter of One Piece? Wait. Isn't Firefist Ace a man? Damn it. Marine is playing us like monkeys? Is Ace born of One Piece? This is not the son of Sin, but the daughter of Sin? Could it be an empty head? This is simply a show? Where's the real Ace? Why didn't he hide it and not execute it? That's right. Quickly bring out the real Firefist. Lie? Everyone became excited, thinking that Marine deceived the whole world. Moby Dick's whalehead. Sengoku, are you playing tricks on me? Or, did you do something to my son? Whitebeard's terrifying aura turned into a substantial wave of anger. Pushed away layers of water splashes. Appalling. Now. Marine, who faced the coercion, trembled a little. But. When they saw a beautiful woman on the execution platform. I understood Whitebeard's anger, but why? They are Marines. Don't even know about it? What is Marshal Sengoku trying to do? Why should everyone? Little Crane. Garp's mouth twitched. It can be regarded as understanding what she said about the granddaughter before. When he brought the change, I don't know. Crane shook his head. Seeing that the incident intensified. But now there is so much sweat on Sengoku's forehead that he can't wipe it off. Certainly. It's impossible for him to do such a bad thing. It was just an accident. Marine didn't have to do such a boring thing. Sengoku feigned composure, glancing at Icy's upright delicate body. Some wanted to cover their foreheads. The wind came so untimely. If the explanation is not clear, the entire headquarters will become a laughing stock. During the escort, Ace became like this. Although I don't know if there was an accident and impelled down, or what. But I guarantee in the name of Marshal Marine that we have not tampered with anything. Voice. Definitely. Have you staked your reputation? For a while. This made everyone whisper to each other. Sengoku goes along. Start babbling. This isn't good for Marine. Above the sea. There is a female star super pirate group, everyone must know it. He has a certain method to create a female version of a strong male at sea. Perhaps. He also has the ability to turn a man into a woman. Sengoku said it in one breath. It was a blushing heartbeat. Without stopping. You mean Shichibukai Hunter Rodan? Are you kidding? Push the pot to others? Exactly. How could it be possible to do this from such a distance? It's too ridiculous. It must be a good thing you Marine did. The Whitebeard pirates. Even the spectators who brought Sabodi were uproarious. Rodan. But Icy, who was kneeling on the ground, trembled, as if a closed door had opened in her mind. Know how you got here. Subsequently. Ace suddenly looked up. His face was very determined. I'm not Ace. You've all been tricked by Sengoku. You people don't have to save me. As soon as the words came out, it caused an uproar again. Even the parties didn't admit it, so it's hard to argue now, right? Ace. Sengoku clenched his fists. It was good to admit it before, but now it has changed. He really doubted it. Someone deliberately tricked him. Moby Dick aboard. The captains of all the squadrons were also not at peace. But no matter. They all turned their attention to their father in the end. You call the shots. Gu la la la. What are you talking about, my silly son? Whitebeard stared at the woman on the execution platform. His tone was still gentle. I'm not too old to recognize my own son. The Ace you know is a man. Sorry, I'm not. Ace on stage. He lowered his eyes and smiled, shook his head. The chest also fluctuated. It doesn't matter what happened. Whitebeard's eyes flashed brightly, and the noise became louder. Ace. I just want to ask, do you still recognize me as a father? Sound. Sonorous and powerful. Icy tightened her lips when she heard this. Raised his head. I don't. Ace, even if you become a woman, you are still everyone's brother. Haha, or brothers and sisters. The team captains around heard the words. In this serious time, suddenly they burst out laughing. Dad said it all. What doubts could they have? Hey, we won't dislike you, Ace. Marco stepped on the railing with one foot, and roared forward with his hands into horns. Whitebeard grinned. Silly boy, let's talk after we think about it. Everyone, Ace struggled with her handcuffed hands. Even if it's not a world, that feeling, still exist? Whitebeard smiled. Gu la la la, speak out boldly, there is no shame in admitting your father's name. Clang. There was a crisp sound. The naginata was thrust aside. as if to do something. Dad. Ace couldn't bear it any longer, and raised her head and yelled out. Satisfactory answer, my dear daughter. Whitebeard pulled back a small smile. Then his legs bowed slightly, and his hands suddenly embraced in front of him. Ready. Now. The long white sleeves and shoulders on both sides were blown back and forth by the strong wind. Immediately afterwards, a palpitating breath rose suddenly. Subsequently, the fists are released suddenly. Boom. There was a tearing sound. The void on both sides of the fist force cracked at the same time. Moby Dick shook. A tear in the atmosphere? I don't know who exclaimed. In the waters of the inner and outer bays. Immediately, bursts of towering waterspouts rolled out. Many warships churned up and down with the sea as if they had experienced huge waves. Hai Gen actually shook the sea? Sengoku stands on a perch. At this time, seawater from all directions poured into Marineford. See the most clearly. It is also the most frightening. The other side also appeared. Is this what Whitebeard is capable of? The Marines kept exclaiming. Everyone was shocked by this blow. The shadow of the waves covered it. Just at this tense moment when the seawater is about to submerge Marineford. 5 seats. Cross your legs. Aokiji, who was wearing a blue suit, disappeared instantly. There was only a trace of cold air lingering on the seat. Take another look. I saw him flying up to the top of the sky, shaking his palms and pressing on both sides. Subsequently, 2 pillars of cold quickly drilled out from his palm, and climbed onto the tsunami. Shesh. With the outbreak of the cold wave. Keep up the tsunami. It was instantly condensed into a thick ice cube. Ice Age. Aokiji, you little brat. Whitebeard threw his head back and smiled. 2 thorny spears. High-altitude Aokiji pressed down with one hand. Several sharp thorns condensed by ice crystals pierced fiercely downward. Whitebeard turned slightly sideways, and shook the air with a single fist. Salala. Half of Aokiji's face turned into ice, tearing apart. The figure also fell rapidly. Ah la la. There was a plop. Aokiji in the form of an iceman falls into the ocean. But one freezes. He stood up from the seawater again, and pressed his hands on the water surface. Immediately afterwards, center on him. The crystal-clear ice swept across the inner bay at an extremely fast rate of expansion. But this is not the end. The cold wave followed the exit. Even outer bay was also affected. The 43 pirate groups that were advancing all froze on the sea surface. The bay is also frozen. The movement of the ship is also blocked. Some pirates felt bad while lying on the railing. Besides, and Aokiji's debut also dissipates some of the panic Marine had about Whitebeard. We have the most powerful admiral here. There are still 5. No. That's right. Elite Marine is back on its feet. And Admiral's appearance. Let the attention of the rest of the people turn from the execution platform to the bottom. On the 5 thrones placed Moby Dick. The eyes of many captains became serious. Speaking of which, those 2 are new faces. Hey, are you sending 2 more admirals to deal with us? 5 admirals. By the way, isn't there only 3 Shichibukai? Wait, there are only 3 left. Sabodi Archipelago. The camera is also focused on the 5 admirals in time. Why did I say world conscription? Is it to deal with Whitebeard in advance? What a horror. Did you do this to deal with Whitebeard? As expected of the strongest man in the world. Everyone reminisces. Wrong. Forget about being in the limelight. Sudden. Everyone suddenly thought of something and were about to export it. But was interrupted by Sengoku in the camera. Him at the moment, his expression returned to seriousness. In addition to the execution this time, there is actually one more thing to announce. That is, Marine has added 2 admirals, codenamed Fujitora and Green Bull. It should have been said before, but because of Ace's gorgeous transformation, it was interrupted his thoughts. It can only be officially announced now. Everyone heard the words and didn't say much. Those 2 people. In fact, there is a guess. It's just weird that the Marine keeps 3 admirals. No matter how aggressive the 4 emperors are, they will not break this convention. Why this time? Could it be that the real situation really comes from that person? Actually, we started drafting long before we caught the ace. It had nothing to do with Whitebeard. What really mattered to us was. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. I saw a hurricane coming directly above the headquarters, causing everyone's hair to fly. Immediately afterwards, a clear voice resounds through Marineford. Yo, long time no see, everyone. Is it still here? Execution stand. Sengoku looked up at the flying boat with the golden word, God, in the sky. Take a deep breath. This man is a load of pressure. More troublesome than the entire ship of the Whitebeard pirates, and scary. Below. That is. The Rodan pirates. They're here too. Damn it. Why did you get involved at this time? What are you afraid of? We have 5 admirals. That being said, Marine elites. But the confidence is not so strong, it seems to be forcibly cheering up. After all this. But on the basis of the Whitebeard pirates, another 4 Emperor's team has been added. Although there are 2 new admirals, but that's new. They also don't know how powerful they are. At this time. Because the image phone bug was not aimed at the flying boat. Audience at Saboti. Seeing nearly 100,000 Marines all raised their heads, they were stunned for a moment. Whitebeard Newgate, Marine Hero Garp. I don't know if I send you a daughter or granddaughter. Are you satisfied? On the flying boat in Niwan. Rodan, who was wearing a light golden cloak, smiled lightly and faced down. The things expressed in that relaxed tone. But let the Marine and pirate camps be the strongest. All face changes. This guy. Can actually do this kind of thing. Sengoku gritted his teeth. An unknown palpitation gradually permeated the whole body. From a combat power comparable to 3 admirals. To the 5th old lady. Strange. And now the executioner Fire Fist Ace. What is there that he can't do? Is this going to screw all the strong men in the sea? Thinking. He looked at Ace beside him. This angle is just enough to see a trace of an arc. Sengoku was taken aback. Then he bit the tip of his tongue suddenly, wanting to slap himself. Quickly calm down. What did Rodan do to you, didn't you realize it? I don't know him. There was a trace of confusion in Ace's eyes. In her head. There is something familiar about Rodan. But in her world, there is no such person at all. Do not know? Sengoku ignored her, picked up the loudspeaker and yelled, Rodan, are you going to choose to fight us? At this time, everyone in the audience became tense. Even Vice Admiral, such as Flying Squirrel and Maynard, stationed against warships outside the bay. He also clenched the knife in his hand, Rodan. But in one breath, 4 of them Vice Admiral, plus 1 ex-admiral. Zephyr, their common teacher. Ruthless. Ultimate has been reached, but they have nothing to do with this existence. Because of this man. Unknowingly, it has grown into a giant. It's far from what several of their Vice Admirals, even the highest combat power admiral can shake. And currently, Rodan is the key to the battle. His choice, it will determine the final direction of the battle. That's all. The whole Marineford is waiting for Rodan's response. The air did not dare to take a breath, on the ark. Choose. Rodan laughed. What do you think, you want me to come here for nothing? Words are straightforward. Straightforward. It made Sengoku and other high-level executives agitated. But Rodan changed his voice. So Marine. I will also give you a choice. As long as you clear all the remaining Shichibukai within 3 minutes, how about I join the battle later? Say it. High-level Marine has not yet responded. Rodan's figure disappeared 1 step earlier. 3 minutes. Peel an apple and watch the show first. After this conflict broke out, it wasn't just Shichibukai, but Marine as well. Then why? Without letting Whitebeard consume some first. 5 Admiral plus Sengoku Garp is also a very troublesome combination of combat power. Let's choose. At this time, Sengoku's heart is heavy as the marshal. Clear Shichibukai. How could it be possible to do such a cynical thing? However, as the backbone of Marine, he had already anticipated this scene in advance. Not unprepared. Thinking, he glanced around a corner. In an instant, 3 white shadows passed by in a flash, approaching the proverb of the ark. Bombardment. Destroy the Moby Dick, at this time. Seeing this, a Marine below quickly issued an order with a flick of his eyes. The battle begins. Shish, like the firing sound of sky-piercing monkey, they all played together. Dispersed with fire and gunpowder smoke. The bombing sound is deafening too. Gu la la la, what a strange and interesting man. Whitebeard looked away from above, grinning. If 5 Admiral is Marine's unexpected surprise. So Rodan. It was his surprise. As for Ace turning into a woman. Alive is the most important thing. Black whales on both sides of the boat. Seeing that Marine took the initiative to attack, the team members showed surprised expressions. Is this a race against time? Shichibukai is alright. Is Marine going to single-handedly fight against our Whitebeard and Rodan regiments? Don't take it lightly, the Rodan regiment may have some plans. Never mind. Come on, let's go. It gave a good foothold. Let them see how powerful we are. One last sound. It was said by Foil Vista with a long curly beard. Immediately afterwards, a group of pirates jumped off the ice. By several captains. With this group of pioneers, they rushed up first. On the contrary, it is Smoker and other elite generals. Fighting. One touch, on the flying boat. 3 white shadows wearing masks fell on the deck. Middle. It was a woman in a white dress, red tie, net stockings, and high heels. One tall and one short on both sides. They are a red aboriginal masked man and a masked man with a scalloped yellow stripe on his chin. The 3 people who couldn't see their expressions just landed. He took a step forward, but not yet. They trembled all over. It was as if some terrifying aura locked them in an instant. Then, a long knife lay across the necks of the 3 of them. That white pattern. It was so fierce that people couldn't look directly at it. It's not very polite for the 3 of you to come here uninvited. Excuse me. You are the super female swordsman who is rumored to have defeated Hawkeye, right? The red tie CP0 bowed his head and apologized. Let me introduce myself. We are the CPO from the world's highest cipher pole, long heard. If it's all nonsense, don't get off the boat. Mihoko's eyes were calm. Well, the Thai girl was slightly taken aback. As a CPO, except celestial dragons, she was rarely spoken of in this tone. Thinking. She said in a low tone, the door is here. On behalf of Lord 5 Elders, to have a friendly meeting with Captain Rodan. A meeting? Do you come at this time? Mihoke slowly withdrew the knife. Putting his hands on the railing beside him, he looked down at Whitebeard's figure. If you have legs, then go there by yourself. You. The native masked man took a step forward. When is the going to say something? Mihoke suddenly drew the knife, and lightly straddled the railing with his right leg. Slashed down with a knife. Pause time. The wind blew suddenly. Followed by a deep white slash. It just so happened at this moment. There is also a spiral cyan giant blow that crashes upwards. Boom. Soon. The 2 sides collided. After distorting the air, a huge earthquake finally erupted. Below. Diamond JOZ just dragged the cyan slash from Hawkeye straight up. He smiled triumphantly at Hawkeye, but soon. His face froze suddenly, and he quickly looked up into the sky. Subsequently. Whoosh. Heavy air pressure. The clothes of everyone on the Moby Dick were pulled down and rattled. Stretched to the tightest. Josie clenched his fists and jumped up. But face. But not at all easy. Because of the giant slash, it has already reached the hull. That's too late. Critical moment. Boom. A hook claw dyed with fire blue kicked it hard. Slash and shatter. But the owner of the toe claw also flew back upside down, and was even dragged and slid several times on the deck. It was barely enough to stop. He actually has this level of swordsmanship. Marco looked serious. Is this the strength of the crew of the Rodan regiment? At the same time, Hawkeye just swung his sword at Whitebeard. He raised his eyes slightly. I don't know what I'm thinking. On the flying boat. Mihoke, who jumped off the railing, turned to look at the masked man. What were you going to tell me just now? I want to say, you were beautiful. The right leg of the Aborigine masked man maintains a stepping motion. Pull the left foot. Taking advantage of the situation, he came over, and then bowed deeply. The 3 made a turn. With apprehension all the way, I came to the open-air golden hall. The shining gold, and gorgeous jewelry embellishment. Blind. In the eyes of the 3, it's not so much a hall as a palace on a ship. Plus this ship can fly. The high level of compulsion. Even the world's nobles in the name of luxury are far behind. Now. The 3 of them walked to the middle of the hall and looked at the person at the top. Red tie woman. He took the first step and made a simple salute. Captain Rodan, we are here to have a friendly meeting with you on behalf of Lord 5 Elders. Say it. Her only answer was a tap. Boom. Micro tremor. It was extremely harsh in the hall. It made her and the other 2 CPOS feel pressured. Are you Stussy? One of the emperors of the underground world, known as the Queen of Happy Street, unexpectedly is the lackey of celestial dragons. Rodan's opening made Stussy frown slightly. Her identity is a secret. Who leaked it? You're right. Stussy looked up. Then he took off the mask, revealing his beautiful face. That being the case, then there is nothing to hide. As for the lackeys of celestial dragons, many people want to be the dogs of the world's nobles. I can't even make it up. She doesn't care about this. Rodan leaned back on the golden chair and continued. It's better to say you're here to negotiate with me than to meet with me. I don't have much patience to grind with you when I set out the conditions. %GS it already know. Stussy smiled gracefully. You deserve to be called the most mysterious man in this sea, nothing can escape your eyes. We came here this time to convey the words of those 5 adults. See Rodan's complexion unchanged. Stussy thought about it and said, 5 adults, I want you to withdraw from this battle. Afterwards, the Shichibukai system will be cancelled according to your wishes. W. At first when she heard the resolution, I was very shocked. You know that Shichibukai has existed for many years, and it not only maintains the balance of the sea. There are deeper meanings. Now for a pirate. It is really unimaginable to make such a big concession. This majesty, it's a complete sweep, it's boring. Rodan picked up a banana. Started to peel up. Your master is like this banana peel. Now I have peeled it down to the last strip. Is there a big difference between peeling off voluntarily or by myself? He shook his head and laughed. Then he bit off the long white striped pulp in one bite. Chew slowly. Without this layer of protective skin. For me, it's just a matter of one bite. The difference is only early and late. The language is not amazing and endless. This word. The 2 male CPOS below listened, their foreheads suddenly dripping with cold sweat. The meaning is very clear. Shichibukai had a few leftovers that I could handle easily. Did you cancel afterwards? That's all the same. After all, the dead Shichibukai, isn't it the same as nothing? And Stussy's red nails were also deeply pierced into the palm of his hand. That action of eating a banana. With tone. It's so close to saying kill, world government, and replace it. This cannot be described with the word hockey at all. The 4 emperors big mon she is familiar with, not even One Piece. They dare not say such a thing. It's crazy. Even the Revolutionary Army has experienced a long development. He Rodan. How long have you been out at sea? Captain Rodan, you may not have a clear understanding of the volume accumulated by the world government over the past 800 years. Stussy had a smile on his lips, but the slightly undulating chest showed that she was not at peace. More than 170 affiliated countries, Shichibukai, Marine and even our CP organization are superficial, and the real power is absolutely beyond your imagination. Papa. At this time, there was a crisp applause. Dover in a pink fur coat came from somewhere.
Cha. No matter how many bananas you have, you are still a banana. No matter how much you have good teeth, stuttering is not a problem.
Say it. She grabs it with one hand. 5 silver threads swept across. Hands on a word. Stussy opened her beautiful eyes slightly, and raised her long legs in net stockings. Then he swung a dark blue eagle-like kick, extremely sharp. Whoa. Clang. Flames burst. Shave and flash. Stussy didn't care after he swung, and quickly followed the other 2 out of the hall. She. Do you think I can only watch? Li Yin fell to the ears of the 3 of them. But it sounds like the voice of the devil, it makes the scalp tingle. Saw Dover above. 10 fingers move. A small birdcage, together with the deck, covers 3 people. Shoe and finger pistol, tempest kick, pity. After some impact. No matter how exquisite their 6 styles are, they still can't break through this wire cage. Stussy stopped the 2 of them with a wave. A cold voice came out. What are you guys going to do? Do you want to start a full-scale war? This woman stays, you 2 can leave. If she wants to go back, she can exchange it with devil fruit within 10 minutes. Dover chuckled. Don't answer either. Thumb and index finger flick. Birdcage separated Stussy in an instant, throwing the other 2 CPOS flying. The 2 heard the words. They looked at each other. Buckle up, Stussy. Do you have to exchange it with a devil fruit to put it back? But it's not bad to be able to stay alive. 1 second. If you don't leave, then I will do it. Dover frowned. Let them go. I don't want to dirty the deck. The native man and the yellow Tiao man jumped out of the flying boat when their robes moved. And the latter jumped out of the flying boat. Just slow down. The upper body and lower body were drawn straight apart. A blood flower spun out in the air. Throw it down. No matter how calm Stussy was, he couldn't keep the expression on his face. But can also restrain. She doesn't believe it. This man keeps himself, just for a devil fruit. Think of all the women on board, and your own face. Stussy had a faint guess in his heart. Can't help but hit her? Ah, man. Sorry, I have no interest in you, an old lady who has served celestial dragons for many years. Rodan easily read through her thoughts. When Stussy heard the word grandmother, his expression turned ugly for a moment. Together with, there is also a hint of harshness. Then why did you arrest me? Devil fruit is not the real reason. Ha. Rodan smiled. It really is. The next replacement requirement is a devil fruit. With such a strong intelligence capability of CP, it should not be difficult to find fruits in a short time, right? So convenient. He can't be bothered to look for it. Rodan thought. From his right hand, a lion majesty, a purple liquid that wraps around an arc, pops out. Dover's eyes are quick and quick. Contain the little birdcage and let lion majesty in. Subsequently, lazy lion majesty touched Stussy's firm skin as she wished. For a while, the numbness spread. The purple snake clung to her and quickly penetrated into the opened mouth. Damn, what is this thing? Stussy's pretty face changed, and she covered it up in time. Unexpectedly, the purple snake whirled, changed its path and broke into her nostril. Suck. Ah. There was an indescribable feeling in Stussy's nostrils. Immediately afterwards, her internal organs began to burn and corrode. What is this? Poison. Stussy curled up and clutched his lower abdomen, inexplicable pain. It's so uncomfortable. Captain Rodan, please let me go. No matter what you tell me to do, I can satisfy it. You are worthless. If you really can't stand it, just distract yourself. Look at how the skin you rely on is torn apart. Rodan was unmoved. 3 minutes to soft. It's time for those who belong to him to appear on the stage and participate in this luxurious and top-notch war. Below, the sound of the artillery in the outer bay was carried out extremely quickly. Execution stand. Bombard the troops, aim at the enemy ships and the following fleet. Frontline soldiers must completely prevent them from going to the square. Sengoku gave orders one by one in an orderly manner. At the same time, keep an eye on the top. That was a sharp knife hanging over their marine heads. When will it fall? Nobody knows. In this case, advanced combat power cannot let go. At this time in the inner bay, team captains such as Vista, Harda, and Murloc Nomuel charged with all their might. They have no scruples. That's all. Several captains quickly cut down one marine after another. The progress is tremendous, and in Admiral's top spot. Now after one person has left, there are still 4 people left. Clang. There was the sound of a sword being unsheathed. Fujitora, who closed his eyes tightly, made a slight movement. Well, your ability is not suitable for doing it now. Kizaru smiled. Slowly let down Erlang's legs that were raised up. Standing up with hands in pockets. Really, as expected of the captains of the Whitebeard pirates. Each one is as strong as a monster. He tilted his head slightly. He opened his mouth and took a few steps forward, with a relaxed tone. If you want to minimize the loss, you can only capture the thief and the king first. Say it. The light particles fly apart. Call out. Show up again. I saw the dazzling cross light, already condensed on the upper front of Moby Dick. Facing Whitebeard wielding a naginata, shine. Let the pirates raise their hands to cover their eyes. Huang Kizaru is here. There was a pirate with messy hair, and suddenly his pupils made a sound. Above. Kizaru folded his arms and made 2 circles. 8-foot Chongu. Haven't finished reading yet. His left eyebrow twitched, as if he had noticed something. Suddenly. Tear. There was a sharp piercing sound. Subsequently, I saw Kizaru with a man in a suit. Like a broken leaf, it was cut horizontally into 7 or 8 sections. But even so, Kizaru still moved his mouth to speak. Hey, have they started doing it too? What a headache. Say it. His unbleeded wound. A glimmer of light overflowed, and then completely dissipated into disordered grains of light. 70 or 80 meters away, Kizaru looked into the distance. I saw a pink fur cloak rushing down. Look from a distance. It's like flying in a wingsuit. Bang, bang. Landing sounds sounded one after another. A pink shadow, a wine-red shadow. Although there are only 2 people, but the pressure on the Marines has not been returned in the slightest. Is that Doflamingo and Hawkeye? No, Hawkeye is in the square. Doflamingo also reported that he is dead. Idiot, it's coming from above. It must be the Rodan pirates. Have they joined the battlefield? The pirates' eyes lit up. Get excited. The hope of rescuing Ace has grown. The Rodan regiment joins the battle, which undoubtedly benefits the pirates. Foil Vista never stared at Hawkeye. Transferred to Mihoko. A woman's strength. Can it really approach the number 1 swordsman? He was very skeptical. Damn it, is the Rodan regiment joining the battlefield? Is it going to be intense now? Don't panic. Marshal Sengoku must have been deployed. Marine on the opposite side swallowed, and then cheered each other up for a while. Bite the bullet and rush forward. Anyway. They're not right about that kind of monster either. On the Shichibukai stand in the plaza. Then, let's make a break. Hawkeye's sharp eyes moved. Tap lightly with 1 foot. Then he leapt forward. He doesn't want a second self to appear, so this will be an all-out battle. Block the dignity of the swordsman. Never die, never stop. Akainu, who was crossing his legs, couldn't help but look sideways. Did you do it? The number one swordsman. Always the object of attention. As for the news editor's defeat, no one would believe it. Who boom. Hawkeye landed 10 meters in front of Mihoko. The two looked at each other. Sharp color. All the elite Marines within tens of meters backed away. In Logetown, you made me feel the pain that I haven't seen for a long time. I don't know what you can do now. To the point of completely defeating you. Mihoko hooked her red lips. It was indeed a pity last time, but then under the training of Shueba Fachi. The strength has long been different from what it used to be. The world's number one swordsman. In the past, she pursued it for the sake of beauty. Now for that man, it's not the same anymore. What is the fight among monsters is about to start, but please don't embarrass Lord Rodan. Dover on the side smiled. Put the target on Boa Hancock in the square. Call out. Only the pink afterimage remained in place. Square front. Hancock with arms crossed, the first time he saw Rodan's female crew. There was a hint of retreat in my heart. Think of the angry and dazzling thunder giant in the capital of water. She still has a trembling heart. If it wasn't for dear Luffy, she wouldn't be recruiting Shichibukai at all. On that. At this time. A loud bang interrupted her thoughts. I saw the ice in the bay. The confrontation between the two burgundy figures attracted the attention of the audience. Hancock froze for a moment, but the next second. There was a warning sign in her heart, and she swung her long legs fiercely. Perfume femur. And Bartholomew Kuma next to him is a step slower. The head fluttered. Like a headless chicken, it is constantly locking on to something. Hey, other people's battles are not worth paying attention to. Dover pulled with one hand. 5 silver wires blocked Hancock's attack. This pause. The tyrant bear reacted, knees half bent. Continuously hitting combo attacks towards Dover's figure in the air. For a while. Countless transparent bear paws flew away. It's also miserable, will you be used even if you die? Dover seemed to be sighing. The fleshy palms continued to penetrate her body, but only hit a series of phantoms. And Hancock was under attack from Dover. Then they will retreat steadily. Every blow. It can almost blow her away dozens of meters away, and the power is so strong that Hancock is also a woman. Feeling more terrified, and anxious, the man's crew. After all, they are some mysterious monsters. Boom. Hancock wiped the ice, a trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. My concubine needs help. She looked around helplessly. Put on a cute and pitiful look. Extremely arouses the desire for protection. We are coming. How could such a beautiful woman be hurt by pirates? We're here to save you. For a while. The bewildered Marines all rushed forward, trying to stop Duoyue. As for the admirals, they were indifferent, especially Kizaru. It was blasted into the building by Marco, and when it condensed again calmly, it came back. The Empress was within 10 meters of him. After Kizaru glanced at it, he seemed to think of something. Hastily pulled out his pocket. Putting one hand on the ground, he made a panting look. Phoenix Marco, it really is a monster. Talking. He doesn't even look at Hancock. Pointing to the rear with his right hand, he commanded very seriously. Giant troops, you have to pay attention to the sky. Hancock saw that except for the miscellaneous soldiers helping her. Admiral actually didn't make a shot. My heart tightened. His fists were also clenched suddenly. Damn Marine, has she been taking advantage of her concubine? Boiling, only now do you understand? With a sneer. Dozens of Marines in front of the Empress, including several vice admirals, all knelt on the ground. At this time, on her forehead, bowing 5 beautiful fingers suddenly. So, that's the end of it. Execution stand. When Ace met 2 women, Mihoko and Dover, a sense of familiarity spread. Actually, it's female. This is exactly the same as the Shichibukai in her world? What kind of existence is the Rodan regiment? Before she could think about it, Dover and Hancock suddenly disappeared into the battlefield. At least that's how it looks to others, but IC looked at the flying boat in the air. Then he retracted his gaze, and Nu Li calmed down. As expected of Marine, Shichibukai can be discarded at will. This is just part of the plan. Sengoku doesn't explain much. There are other thoughts in my heart. Rodan dropped 2 crew members, just for 2 Shichibukai? But the longer the delay, the better. Get rid of Whitebeard. Against the Rodan regiment, but no doubt much better. Be afraid. Rodan doesn't make a move. He was plotting something beyond his imagination. Thinking. A hurried white figure flashed in front of Sengoku, with a slightly hasty tone. First need you Marine to provide a devil fruit. Well, didn't you just go? Sengoku frowned. There was a bad premonition in my heart. Next second. A movement interrupted his thoughts. Inner Bay. You all back down. The burly Joz was running, and suddenly jumped up and hit the ice with a single fist. That amazing bowl force and precise force. It actually directly cracked a huge ice block about 100 meters away. Just when people don't know why, Joz clasped the huge ice and made amazing moves. There's something to block it. I saw him roar, and the muscles in his hands suddenly swelled. Then throw it. A huge cone of ice hundreds of times larger than his body fell on the execution platform in a parabola with shining light. It's ice cubes. This is too big. The generals on the square held long knives and looked terrified. There is no way to start. Immediately afterwards, shadows fell over the 5 seats. Fujitora next to him stood up unhurriedly. Then he pulled out the sword. Wearing a sleeve robe, he slashed at the ice cube fiercely. Subsequently, I saw a huge purple wave gushing out from the blade. Like a spring. Blast towards the ice cone in circles. Buzz. Boom. Nearly 100 meters of thick ice. After being brushed by the purple spring coil, it lost its strong impact very strangely. The momentum stagnates. It also fell back towards the Moby Dick in the opposite direction. How did it bounce back? Is that the strength of the new admiral? They are all monsters. What kind of ability is this? It's unbelievable. The team members who looked up at the sky were all in a cold sweat. The landing point at this time, it happened to be at the intersection of Hawkeye and Mihoko. In the way, Mihoko shook Hawkeye back. The heavy-edged T-shaped long knife danced a sword flower upwards and met Hawkeye again. The sword flower turned into white waves and rolled up. Immediately afterwards, under the astonished eyes of Marine and the pirates, this white wave is like cutting tofu. Easily rode in. Not only that, Whitecaps also formed Ultimate's destruction inside. After a blink, the ice pick turned into tens of thousands of small ice crystals like a shattered porcelain bowl and scattered downward. For a while, just like a diamond, blue light shone all over the sky. Extremely gorgeous, but under the good looks. 5th Division Captain Vista has goosebumps all over his body at this moment. It's obviously a simple movement, but the sword move has been applied to Ultimate invisibly. He can do it, but it can never be so easy. Just one hit? It's simply impossible. Joz threw it so hard, but it was easily resolved. Crew of the Rodan Regiment, just this one, just that pervert. It didn't take long for them to marvel. There was an earth-shattering loud noise. Attracted attention again, and the makers are Hawkeye and Mihoko. With the increase of the fighting time between the two before, the momentum has become wave after wave. And at this time, it has reached its peak. Boom. The two struck out a super slash with all their strength. It involves a lot. It's as if the whole inner bay is going to be cut open. Boom. Collision of blue and white. A solid shield like 100-meter energy wave is formed. Shine. It instantly illuminated the faces of all the people in the inner bay, making the fighting movements of people in the distance stagnant. Even in today's high-end battle situation, it's enough to attract attention. Moby Dick aboard. This hit. Even Whitebeard squinted slightly. A battle for the #1 swordsman. Are you kidding? She's just a woman. How does this make Lousy a big man live? Let's reincarnate. The Rodan Regiment also has some female crew members. There are so many monsters like her. I guess this is the only one. Team members. Being a man feels like living in a dog. I had to keep comforting myself. Among the great swordsmen, a contest of this level, isn't it what I dream of? Vista's hands holding double knives, trembling. He is getting more and more excited. You guy, didn't you feel relaxed before? Did you say that as a gentleman, you will let women as much as possible? Marco, who flew down, teased. That was before. Vista said, his eyes fixed, and Marco and the other captains were also stunned for a moment. I see. An energy shield created by sword energy. It actually brushed the ice surface and extended straight to this side. Some marine pirates who didn't react. As soon as he touched it, he was covered in blood, and flew out far away. It's still deadlocked. How long has it been? The corner of Vista's mouth grinned. It can't affect the old man. Talking. He clenched the two western swords tightly and slashed forward fiercely. Boom. Pedal. Falling with sparks. Vista's twin swords pierced some, but a terrifying scene happened. Even him. Still being dragged backwards and forwards. This moment. Don't talk about others. As a great swordsman, Hua Jian felt a little embarrassed by himself. Even the waves of turmoil caused by others can't calm down? This. Even though this blow was just a flat A, it wouldn't be so exaggerated, right? At the same time, Vista was also amazed at the strength of the two. Originally thought. Even if there is a gap, it won't be too far away, and it's hard to judge right now. Vista. Marco covered his face. It's not over yet, Jian Lun dance. Vista stepped upwards. Another blow was blasted. On the other hand, the giant army on the opposite side slashed on the dome one by one. Formed a semicircle. But even so, their statures are still like Vista, and they keep moving back and forth. At the same time, execution stand. Is this your plan, to release Shichibukai and consume her at the same time? Hit Hawkeye with Hawkeye? Ace glanced to the side. This is a fight to the death. Sengoku actually didn't expect this scene either. What a surprise. He didn't expect that the people of Roden's regiment would insist on killing Shichibukai. What is it for? This kind of thing, it's no good at all. Below. Fujitora wielding a sword, just perceiving the breath in front of him. There was a sense of shock, like two giant bright moons collided. The power is jaw-dropping. After this fluctuation lasted for more than tens of seconds, I saw that the power was declining. Marine took a chance. Together they blasted away this energy fluctuation in one fell swoop. No matter what, maybe Marineford is gone. So far, they actually felt a sense of relief. Top gap. It's really not that big, in contrast to the center. Except where the two of them were standing. The 100-meter ice layer has been cut down by more than 10 meters, like a meteorite crater. After the sword energy swept across, the inside is sleek. You can jump in and play on the slide. Gulu. Someone took a closer look. The saliva swallowed 2 or 3 times before stopping, as if extremely thirsty. It was so shocking. Now, Marines and pirates have a common doubt. Who wins death? Shish. Dozens of fine sword chi shot out vertically and horizontally from the center. Ultimate fast. Undetectable to the naked eye. Now. Pirates are Marines who approach ice pits out of curiosity. Good luck. Only the hair was shaved. Bad luck. The neck and the whole body were covered with traces of blood. Powerless, he fell to the ground. It's just fallout. Can't we all take it? Get away. Don't come close. Damn it. They are all monsters. Isn't there even a winner? Also from New World. If they are placed in the first half, the Japanese can fight 10 pirates. The same is true for Marines. But it is no different from miscellaneous soldiers. The crowd ran. Fortunately, the inner bay is very large. There's still plenty of room to maneuver and let them engage in combat. Now. Even this top combat power is fighting them. There is no reason to be lazy. A new wave of Marine. He rushed up with a long knife in his hand. Ahead. A pirate wearing a purple sling, with his right hand fishing from the left side of his chin. A giant iron wood hammer more than 10 meters. It was pulled out of thin air. Boom. A dodge and a collision. The blood spreads. Nearly 10 colonel-level Marines had their chests cracked and were knocked tens of meters away. Several captains stepped forward one after another, which made the Marines feel tricky. Blocked the captains. Rear Admiral, who was wearing an iron helmet, was hoarse and greeted him fiercely with a knife. Don't let them land. Sink the Moby Dick. Kill Whitebeard. Knock down the airship of the Rodan regiment too. For a while. The sound of gold and iron and shelling continued. Why are there such terrifying humans? Kirby, both empty-handed.
His legs trembled suddenly, and his mind was buzzing at the moment.
The sound of shouting and fighting came. Only then did he slowly come back to his senses, and his eyes looked around from the distant ice pit. These mundane attacks. Compared with the great swordsman. It can be said that there is a world of difference. So. Does their fight really make sense? Isn't it a fearless sacrifice? When Kebi was in a daze. Marine and pirates kept falling, and they only had determination in their eyes. Soon. There are several vicious pirates approaching. Kobe's pupils contracted. The legs took a step back. This is the big pirate. This is the real battlefield. I can't do it anymore. My legs are shaking and I can't move. His face was covered with cold sweat. Impossible. It's impossible to beat these guys. Bellamybo knelt down on his knees, propping his hands on the uneven ice. Kirby glanced back. This guy. Even more spineless than him? You think so too, don't you? The guys here are all monsters. And the Rodan pirates have only sent one person now, which has created such a power. Bellumibo pouted his buttocks and looked at Kabi with a cat waist, his face extremely horrified. This is not something that us rookies can participate in at all. Let's run away. Bellumibo finally yelled loudly. Yes. As Garp's right-hand man, he intends to act as a deserter. Kebi turned his head, a little hesitant. Seeing this, Bellumibo couldn't help scolding. Are you an idiot? if we really fight here from now on, we won't be able to last even a second. At this moment, there was a tremor. The two froze for a moment, then quickly looked outside the bay. I see. An incomparably huge shadow slowly came from outside the mist. At the same time, Mihoko on the ice pit. With the knife rest in both hands in front, there was a slight trembling sound. She has dyed bloodline. The jazz hat has long since fallen off, leaving only strands of hair flying back and forth. And Hawkeye on the opposite side. The same is not much better, there are even a few roads on the side according to the original. A world-class swordsman. Still don't know how long he hasn't been injured. Neither knows. During this period, how many times did they explode with ultimate slashes? Burst out. How much effort was blocked by others? Mihoko smiled, very touching. It's time to end. The span of your strength is bigger than I imagined. Hawkeye closed his eyes. It's been a long time. I haven't fought like this before. Then block. The final blow of the swordsman. Call out. The two jumped up, their figures were as fast as lightning. But this collision, it is different from the previous burst. It looks quite unpretentious, like a superficial touch. There is no storm. Not too much noise. But the real danger, I am afraid only two people know. After a while, when it lands again, the faces of the two of them turned pale. Clang. Another knife. The difference is, this time there was not only a metal collision, but also a dull scratching sound. Crash. Passionate. Sprinkled the bottom of the pit. The two took a few steps back until Tuan Chichi got off at the edge. Now. Messy hair. With pale lips. It all shows that they have reached the limit. You and your captain. In what form do you exist? Hawkeye raised his eyes. The tone is extremely serious. And his wine-red clothes. After the words were exported, it turned into fine powder and drifted into the air. The blood-stained lean muscles were exposed. Zeon. Mihoko looked directly at him. Half an hour. Hawkeye smiled for the first time in this battle. It's really an inimitable way. Climb to new heights with your captain. The two were in the last blue and white light. The breath fell silent. It's over. How about winning or losing? Hawkeye won't lose, right? That's the most bloody thing in our Janshin. If you lose, doesn't the Rodan regiment have the world's #1 swordsman? It's not the captain, it's terrible, so what's the end? Maybe win or lose. In the eyes of others, it is a bit blurred. But in the eyes of high-level people, there is already a judgment. Moby Dick. From the beginning to the end, Whitebeard's gaze never left the two of them. A new era? Say it. He looked again at Sengoku on the execution platform. Coincidentally, Sengoku also set his sights on him. Off stage. Such a level. Really surprised the old lady. Strength has nothing to do with gender. Akainu's eyes flickered, but the result is really unexpected. Plus, it's a great opportunity, isn't it? Fujitora heard the words. Facing him sideways, he nodded slowly and said, the old man knows. Talking. He stepped on the clog on his right foot. The figure spanned hundreds of meters in an instant, and came to the sky where the two of Mihoko were fighting. He pulled out his stick and knife and swung it down resolutely. Shoot. The knife fell in half. Then he was intercepted in midair by the western sword with the fragrance of roses. Marine, that's not the way to take advantage of being cheap. Vista grinned. But then, his eyelids trembled again. I saw the green bull on the top 5, after a stretch. Get up from the chair. Then the figure disappeared in place. Immediately afterwards, dozens of thick vines actually extended from the ice. Writhing. Like a blood vessel, until it explodes completely at call. The wind tore. The vine tentacles curled up and swung fiercely towards the ice meteor zone. Just at this critical moment, several streaks of sharp yellow coarse sand rolled down from the air. A sharp spin. It turned into a high sand wall, and the 10 vines slammed into each other hard. At the cost of consuming the front end, broke in smoothly. But then, the black and yellow vines twitched, as if being ravaged by invisible threads. Finally, it shattered and fell on the ice. Call. A streak of gravel turned into a figure and condensed on the sand wall. It was a woman in a black fur coat. She smoked a cigar. Just about to hit. But the movement suddenly froze, snorted and took it back. And behind her, Mihoko was nowhere to be seen. Immediately afterwards, a pointed leather shoe also fell on the sand wall, and Dover, who was wearing a pink outfit, had his hands in his pockets. Laughed wantonly. Shishi. Is Marine still slowly suppressing the big names? The pressure is too small, but it won't work. So, here we go. A real feast of death, on the flying boat. Rodan sat first. Hitting the golden handle with his right hand, he looked down the stairs. Tell me your choice. Below. Concubine. Wearing a purple cheongsam. The exquisite outline of Hancock's figure. Now. She got down on her knees. Both hands were also buckled by seastone. Hearing this, Hancock writhed restlessly and made a teary look. It's so hard to be a concubine, can Lord Rodan help? A sense of charm. Rolling to the top. Z. A touch of arc. Climb it faster. Ah. Hancock groaned, the numbness too much for her to bear. Don't talk nonsense with me, you. Hancock bit his lip lightly.
Then he changed his face and stared at Rodan viciously.
I promise to withdraw from 7 warlords of the sea, but I will never give in. To be your woman. She showed a firm expression. The concubine's body will always belong to that adult. Ding. Boa Hancock has voluntarily given up on Shichibukai. The girly lottery has been successfully shortened by 2 days. 1/7. The system finished speaking. Rodan's expression moved slightly, and then he laughed. Have you misunderstood something? As a prisoner, do you have a choice now? Also, when did I let you be my woman? That's right, are you worthy? Baki, who was guarding Hancock, spoke out first. Master Captain is not something that a woman like you can taste. Cough cough, you can have it. Bucky, who realizes the wrong word, his expression froze. Hastily changed his mouth. In order to change the topic, she also volunteered. Captain Rodan, kill this woman now. A narcissistic guy who has nothing but beauty, doesn't. There is only one captain. More women, but the more threatening it is. What did you say? The concubine is worthless. Hancock's beautiful eyes widened. It was the first time anyone dared to say that about her. Oh yes. Your daughter country still has a lot of treasures, hee. Bucky's mouth curled up. It's not that it's useless. Rodan is thinking about whether to keep Hancock. Just now. Lao Sha, who was lifted from petrification, returned to his long-lost body. And the Tashigi body. Put it back in storage. Thus. If Tashigi can't return to his own body in the future. This is a body that can turn into a mermaid and has the potential of Poseidon. Wouldn't it be a waste? So Rodan thought. Sink owns petrification. Future. In case a sissy crew member is dying and encounters a situation that is difficult to treat. Let her petrify. Containment consciousness retransformation through the system. Isn't it wonderful to borrow Tashigi's body temporarily like Laosha? So far. Rodan looked down at Bucky below. Change her to low-concentration seastone handcuffs, as long as she can maintain daily activities. From now on, she will be a slave. Hancock heard the words. His eyes were full of disbelief. As one of the previous Shichibukai, she is the queen who rules a country. To be a man's servant, or such a disgusting guy. Impossible. Absolutely, you can refuse, and the consequence is. I will kill Luffy in the first place. Rodan smiled lightly. The peerless appearance of the pirate empress was evaluated by the world as the most beautiful woman in the world. Beauty does exist. Even if it is used for appreciation, it is also a very good thing. Certainly. Not only that. In addition, as a normal male, let a prisoner be a slave. Very reasonable. This kind of thing was changed to a few months ago. He definitely didn't dare to think about it, but he never had the strength. Now there is strength. If it's still so restrained, it's boring. Are you threatening my concubine? Hancock trembled when he heard, Luffy? Servant. She swore she would never be in. Yes. Don't you think I can't do it? Rodan asked back. He will arrive here from Impel Down soon, if you don't believe it. You can watch it from the airship. Look. How did your loved one die? You. So despicable. Hancock clenched his pale hands. The heart is struggling. She just said it not too long ago. Do everything for Luffy himself. You who always call yourself a concubine must have this desire in your heart. Besides, you who are weak have no right to choose. Rodan poured himself a cup of black tea, with servants or maids. The things in daily life can be transferred from Lao Sha to Hancock. It can also solve a lot of troubles, that's all. Bucky takes Hancock. You can't win Marine in this battle. Before Hancock left, another sideways glare at Rodan. Yeah. Rodan smiled. Marineford covered by the Heart Network is now fully visible. Below. Both Whitebeard and Sengoku have layouts. One rushes and the other defends. Whitebeard, whether in terms of numbers or otherwise, are at a disadvantage. Even if every high-level combat power is fully utilized. Still not enough. Although Sengoku lost Shichibukai, the 5 admirals were not vegetarian. The odds of winning are greater. And Rodan looked into the depths of Marineford. Ace is fully prepared, but whether he can, it depends on the end. At this time, the system sound suddenly sounded. Ding. Hakai Mahawk has voluntarily given up on Shichibukai. Status. Dying. The Sissy lucky draw has been successfully shortened by 2 days. After cooling down, you can start the lucky draw at any time. Rodan came back to himself. It seems that the goal has been achieved. The reason why he only sent 2 people at first. I just don't want to startle the snake. All down. It will attract Marine's full-scale attack, and the 2 Shichibukai will not be so easy to eliminate. As for Hakai dying, not dead yet, it was within his expectations. How can the world's #1 swordsman die so easily? This level of strength. Easy to beat. One-on-one kills are very difficult. As for Hakai in this state, can he get out of Marineford? Then forget about his business. But Marine will most likely choose to kill. Rodan thought. I checked Mihoko's cabin and her personal injuries. Contrast with Hakai, it's much better. Anyway, Mihoke also volunteered for this battle. Originally, Rodan was worried that she would not be able to do it, but unexpectedly, in the end, he actually gave him a surprise. Then, leave it to others. Host, do you want to draw a lottery immediately? Wait first. Rodan Kaido, it's not cheap right now. At present, the 4.5-star fragments are still 3 pieces away. So he wants to try to collect them all today. Sign in at Marineford. For the Shichibukai Blackbeard that has not arrived, complete the task after killing and start 10 consecutive draws. All opportunities. Once complete, you can draw 4.5-star characters along the way. Pulling it out now would be such a waste, at this moment. Heartnet. A white shadow swiftly swept over from below. Are you coming? Didn't know to use the replacer this time either. Can you get the shards? There was a smile on the corner of Rodan's mouth, and he looked at Stussy, whose painful face was wrinkled in the corner. Give her poison. Naturally, to prevent escape. Not long. The CPO wearing an aboriginal mask flashed in, holding out a devil fruit with both hands. This is a zone devil fruit. A few minutes late for the appointed time. Rodan took the fruit. Not much to say, pointing to his forehead. Zzz. An electric eel writhed away. You. The face of the native man changed. Instantly dodged to the side, but the electric eel followed suit. It hit him straight. Seeing cannot escape. The native masked man quickly hardened his whole body with armed colors. Shuppy. Blu-ray flashes, he started shaking. Rodan raised his eyebrows and increased some output. Half an hour. The native masked man fell to the ground with a bang. The burnt smell diffused out. Stussy clutched his stomach, his face was ugly. You didn't intend to keep your promise from the beginning, did you? She didn't beg for mercy either, himself as CPO. It was obvious that the man in front of him was not worried about her. It's you who violated the agreed time. Rodan shook his head. He will not be merciful to the people of the world government. Half an hour. The 2 CPOs are gone. The hall seemed to be empty again. And Rodan. Then use this devil fruit to open the girly replacer, after use. But you can get shards, so it doesn't matter if you use it early. The girly character replacer has taken effect and is being randomly selected.